Coming to you from the award-winning Final Third Cigar and Whiskey Lounge, PCA's 2024 Best of Leaf Midwest Cigar Bar, Indiana's exclusive Aladino Cigar Lounge, it's the Final Third Podcast.
Welcome back to the Final Third Podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm drunk. I'm Scott. But I think I'm drunk still.
I think you are too.
I am Mike. And we have more guests I drank with Scott last night.
Feel like we missed out.
Yeah, it was Scott's daughter's 21st birthday party. So we went to Howl at the Moon last night. So
make sure to introduce our guests.
Yeah.
We have guests with us. We'll start that over. Introduce yourself.
I'm Glenn, soon to be drunk.
Yeah.
And I'm Charlie.
And
we are from SoIn2Bourbon.
perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. So you guys do your own podcast. Fairly successful.
Fairly.
I'd like to consider it fairly successful.
Yeah.
We'll take that. We'll
Yeah.
take semi-successful YouTube channel and
Nice.
social media. So yeah,
It's growing. It's
we
definitely
are.
growing.
It's definitely growing. So it's been around. It'll be 2 years in October. Is that
2
right?
years in October.
So we feel like we're kind of getting our footing and getting to do some fun things. And when we started this, we didn't have any real expectation of like, oh, we have a 2-year plan and to do the stuff that we've done. Even coming up here and doing this is stuff we didn't think that
Right.
wasn't in our plans. We just thought we'd sit around and give us an excuse to drink bourbon and film it.
There was literally no plan at all. It was, hey, Charlie, I'm going to throw the camera up here. Let's sit at your bar and talk about bourbon. And I would not recommend anyone ever going back and watching any of our first episodes.
They're still there.
Gotcha,
and they're
gotcha.
so much fun to watch.
They're out there in the ether.
Yeah,
We joke about it all the time that we need to start an OnlyFans page and literally just sit there and say nothing and just sit back and smoke a cigar. Scott will have his shirt off, of course, but
Usually.
it'll be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, let me know when to subscribe when that gets out. 'Cause
We'll send you the link.
Well, since we're only going to have like 4 guests, it's going to be $500 a month.
There you go.
Just so you know.
Yeah. I think that's a fair price, though.
Glenn, you want to split that with me?
Sure. I'll
only
split with
$250.
you. If you can include some feet pics, then
Gotcha.
Way to make it weird, Glenn.
Yeah, way to make it weird.
Yeah, that did get a little strange pretty quick.
It usually does. We usually go
that's
pretty off the
Well,
rails
heck,
pretty
let's get
quickly.
started here.
Yeah, so
So-
we're going to get into the cigars and start talking about some bourbon. So
We're
what
gonna
are we
smoke
smoking?
an old favorite here. It's the Knuckle Sandwich Maduro, the first knuckle sandwiches that came out. What was that, 2 years ago? So we're gonna be smoking that today. Nice full-bodied cigar to get started with some bourbon. So
Love
we're
it.
excited.
Just exactly what you need at 11:40 in the morning after staying up till 2 o'clock drinking the night before.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor ordered.
Exactly.
hair of the dog.
Hair of the dog.
Heck yeah.
What did
And then we
Sin
have
say?
some. Oh, wait, what's
Do you remember
that?
what she said? She was trying to say hair of the dog.
Oh,
I
I don't
remember.
know, but that's a good segue because
I'll have to go back and look
just
at that
want
one.
to let everyone know that they got to meet Sin out here or saw her on the podcast. She's had her first treatment and it's gone well. So hopefully this is going to actually do what
That's
it's supposed
great,
to do
yeah.
for her. So if you don't know what that's about, go back and listen to that
Yeah.
episode.
Struggling with this lighter here. Someone's going to have to show me how to operate this.
Okay,
bad
what
boy.
you got here? Oh, this one's cool, man. So flip the top and then the button in the middle.
Embarrassed us already, Glenn.
Yeah. He's a well-tenured cigar smoker.
Yeah.
Hey, the way they make some of these lighters nowadays.
Yeah, they're
I
all
mean,
over
I
the
mean,
place.
A
Yeah.
little overly complex.
pretty
Like
fancy.
this one, you push the button up. That one, you pull the button down. It's
Mike's got one that's like you just open the top
Mine's
and
a touch
it,
screen. Yeah. So mine's a.
which is hilarious when he starts dancing around because
Yeah.
it starts setting his leg on
Yeah.
fire in his pocket.
I've done that several times already. So
Yes. Not the safest lighter. It's really made for adults, Mike.
well,
Might want to consider
you have to be
changing
able
it
to
out.
read and write and
Exactly.
That's a couple things that
Stay
I'm not super
employed.
strong on. Yeah, shut up.
Sounds like a book learning lighter.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start with the employment discussion then.
Well, no, let's start with a pour.
Okay,
Yeah, we
let's
do
start with
need-
a pour.
We do need
Yeah. And
whiskey.
While we're pouring,
While
I'll tell
we're
you
talking.
my story.
Yes.
So you guys brought some special stuff for us. So what did you bring? What do you guys feel like starting with that isn't Starlight Cigar Batch? Anything else other than that?
What do you think, Charlie? I think maybe the pepper might be the best to start with, don't you think?
Yeah, I think probably either the pepper or this Pursuit's. Yeah, let's do the pepper. Let's
Cool.
do the Jamesy pepper.
Right here. Yeah.
So-
Glad you guys made a decision because I don't have any bourbon in my glass yet.
Let's go, Glenn.
Who wants to pour?
We can just pass it around if you guys are
Yeah,
okay
we'll
with
just
that.
pass it.
go, Charlie.
You guys start and bring it around this way.
I love that cork sound, by the way. The cork is heavy duty.
So is this? You said this is the pepper?
Yeah,
James
this is
E.
the barrel
Pepper.
strength.
Jamesy
Okay.
Pepper barrel strength decanter. Oh, here, I'll pet. You
Yeah,
wanna
we
go
were
that
down.
way?
We were down there in Lexington area trying to. We wanted to go see them, but of course they're closed on the day we were there. But
Isn't that always the way? Closed
Monday-
on Tuesdays.
Mondays and
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
Bi-weekly Wednesdays.
Well, and that's what kills me is like we go down and we do a lot. Like Monday's my day off. We're closed. Tuesdays I take off too, but we go down on Monday and Heaven Hill's the only distillery open in the state of Kentucky. Or at least
crazy.
I think mostly. I mean, not all, I'm sure there's other ones, but like God, I want to go see some more distilleries here.
Yeah, we were kind of late. We just did an episode on this one, and we were kind of late to the party. It's been out for a little while, and I think this is batch
43, I believe.
43 or something
Yeah.
along those lines. But it's pretty darn good. I was really impressed with it. It's a weighty bourbon for that $50-$60 price point. And
Did
I
you
think
say the proof on this one? I didn't.
10 is it one.
This is a 106, wasn't it?
Gosh dang it, Glenn, you're worthless.
He's got to have somebody cut his cigar. He has to have somebody operate the lighter for him.
Hey, I'm high maintenance.
52.7, so that's
Yeah,
104,
105, yeah.
That was close.
change. But yeah, I think this was malted. Is this malted?
It's got
Barley?
malted rye.
Malted rye and
And-
malted barley.
Yeah.
See, it's
And
definitely
it's-
got that malty nose
yeah.
on it.
It comes across to me kind of like a 4-grain. Kind of has that
Yeah,
same type of.
A little earthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like this one, and especially, for sub $60, $70, pretty bottle, good
Yeah.
drinker.
I
It's a
do
hearty
like the
one.
bottle.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the like Remy XO
Yeah.
cognac bottle.
That's what I thought, like, when I first saw it. Like, when I
Yeah.
originally saw this start hitting the market, I was like, that looks like Remy.
But Wild Turkey makes a bottle like that too, right?
That's
Is it their
nice.
Kentucky Spirit,
yeah,
I think, is
yeah.
similar. Yeah.
Man, that's got a lot of that.
It's
like,
very light.
that red fruit thing going.
Yeah,
and
and it's
still get the honey kind of consistency on the back of the tongue.
it's really flavorful, but it's also got a little weightiness to it. Like it checks a lot of boxes. I like this one.
It has a long finish.
It really does.
For
It's got a
104.
really nice finish, doesn't it?
Yeah. So we try, when this podcast started 2 years ago also, Rob did it with Isaiah, who worked here at the time, and it was, Final Third Fridays. They would do cigar and whiskey pairings. That's kind of how it all started. And it was much more informational than it is now, which everybody knows, which is fine.
Yeah,
We-
now it's descended
say
into
no.
well,
I
we talk a lot about facts still.
We do.
But we bring a little more personality of ourselves into it. So,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
because we know, like, we all have other things going on except for me because I'm unemployed. That when one of these bottles comes out, it's super hard to just, like, go get it and then do a review.
Yeah.
And everybody's doing that. So, like,
And
You
there's
know.
Google. You can go out and find all the information if you really
Right,
want to. And
right.
you're
Right.
nerd anyway.
or like every Instagram, influencer now is like doing the same thing. Like, there's 45 influencers that all comment on everyone's stuff every day at the same time every day, and I'm like, you guys are weird, man.
That's
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm throwing shade at you guys.
No, he said
Yeah.
influencers.
Oh, he
We're
said
not
influencers, not just
We're just
Instagram
under the
hazards.
influence.
So when we do stuff, we try to bring like a little more our experience personal instead of just going through like, oh, this nose is cool, like,
Yeah.
vanilla.
Yeah, and I think
It's Rob's favorite.
we do a little bit of both. We
Yeah.
try to not take ourselves too seriously. And I mean, we're not professional whiskey tasters or anything like that. We know what we like. There are, 4 to 5 notes that we'll pick up on, and every now and then you'll pick up on something really out of the blue, and that's kind of exciting when something like that happens. But, do we like it? Do we not? What do we like about it? What don't we? We enjoy talking about the history of the different distilleries and kind of getting into to the personalities involved
and interesting. Like, it has to be. I'm a big fan of interest. Like, either your story and the distillery itself or the mash bill. Hopefully the whiskey itself is interesting and you enjoy drinking it. But like Glenn said, we're not, if you're perusing over to our YouTube channel and expecting a bourbon steward to give you 13 or 15 different tasting notes, we're not that. But it is, and I'll name drop. We just did an episode with Dixon Debman, and it was funny that a guy like that, who, Kentucky Owl and now 2XO, he never once talked about a tasting note. Like, what I get from this, he talks all about feel and weight. And I thought that was really insightful, because it's like, you know what? That's kind of what we all, when you're drinking bourbon, you want it to feel.
I was going to say it.
Mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel and weight and a weightiness. And I think that's a lot of people can kind of learn from that. Just enjoy the bourbon. And how's it make your mouth feel?
Yeah.
Like, literally, is it good? Like, does it make your mouth feel good? Yeah. It's probably a good bourbon. You probably like it.
By the way, first of all, you've missed the "It's Good" on the board twice now. Just want to let you know.
We have an "It's Good" board?
Yes, we do.
Oh, you did get it,
Charlie. We need to step
up.
No, it's the same one.
It's the same one.
Oh, it's the same one. Okay, never mind.
We need a bourbon economy button and a.
This is the
cascading flavor.
It's good.
Oh, that's okay. I thought you had Chris's already.
No,
so.
I'm lazy.
No, it's
Leave me
okay.
alone.
Whatever, dude.
You're unemployed.
You're doing everything.
I'm unemployed. What else do I have fucking going on?
You were talking about how he comes up with, it's more the weight and all that. That's one thing Jackie Zykan, when she was up here doing the sensory training, she says she never talks about tasting notes. Well, she will, but she typically will say
only in the
what
isolates,
the experience is that it reminds you of.
Yeah.
Go back to an
like that
experience
too.
where it reminds you.
Yeah.
He said that will help you break down what flavor you're really getting, because it's that memory of where you were.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool. And that's why, I mean, this is what bourbon's for, right? For sitting around with friends and family or complete strangers and talking about it, whether it's good, bad, indifferent,
right,
interesting. Like, that's what it's here for, open
it
it and enjoy it.
Related to an experience.
Yeah.
I actually had that happen the other day where I got an aroma, and I was immediately transported. It was so cool. I walked out of my barn because I've been working on fireworks this last week for Independence Day coming up, and it was, I don't know, maybe like 10:30 or something. You don't even know what I'm talking about. What the fuck are you laughing at?
Is that why you're missing a finger?
No,
I wasn't going to say anything.
But I walk out, and it was like this perfect night where, there was dew on the grass, and I was immediately transported back to the football field on a Friday night getting ready to play. Right, in
that
high
scent
school.
to the...
That was like 25, 30 years ago, and it was, I was immediately just the grass right there, and it was crazy how quickly
still had grass
it
at
just...
schools.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. I don't think I would have thought about that if I hadn't gone through Jackie's whole sensory training.
I thought you were going to Janelle in the Dutch oven, but that's fine.
No,
I just noticed what shirt you were wearing and made me laugh.
I know.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I
Pineapples, baby.
I forget.
That's what made you laugh. You just looked at me and you just realized I had my pineapple shirt on.
I'm just surprised to see your shirt buttoned, because I was watching one of your previous episodes, and when I was getting dressed this morning, I thought, well, maybe I'll just wear a button down
up
and leave it.
leave
it open.
See?
Yeah.
Sun's out, tummy's out.
That's out.
Still early in the episode.
Yeah. A couple more.
Well, I
pours
am
in
still drunk from last night, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we had a good night last night. We were bar hopping a little bit and ended up with
good last
some fruity
2 days,
ass
man.
drinks.
We did have
Right?
some fruity
Like,
ass drinks.
You
So I
get
have
this
to
little
ask.
garbage pail at Howl at the Moon, and it's like a fucking
I was
60-ounce
gonna say
bucket.
it's not a small garbage.
my
pail.
God,
This is
dude.
a damn bucket.
It's not good.
How was it hanging out with the early 20-year-olds and trying to hang
Dude,
with them?
the three of them were the
They were a
tired
bunch
ones.
of pussies. Seriously.
We're all having a good time, like hollering at all the other drunk ladies that are up there dancing and singing, and they're just like, we're tired.
I actually had a lady who was there for her bachelorette party, I'm assuming. Lydia came up to me and tucked $2 into my chest.
Nice.
Yes, Scott
I was
is
like,
officially
what
a
the
whore.
hell? I'm
Congratulations.
like young woman,
yeah.
I could be your father.
Well, so back up a little bit. Why did she do that? Why did she tuck those dollars in your
Did
shirt?
Adele tell her to?
No. Well, you don't remember the earlier part of the night?
Oh, she did that because I got up there and shook my ass.
Yeah, Scotty was twerking on the stage.
Yeah, I was like
Okay.
singing
So now
along
the truth
really, really
comes out.
loud with, because it's piano bar, right? Doing pianos, and you sing along. That's what you do. And guy points to me and says, "You big guy, get on up here." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. They're going to have me come up and crowd joining in singing thing." And he says, "Put your hands there on the two pianos and then shake your ass." I'm like, "Okay. Well, I'm up here. I walked up here. I guess I'm going to have to do it."
I ain't no pussy.
Exactly.
I'm gonna earn these $2.
Mama didn't raise no bitch.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure Mike's gonna insert the video into the podcast.
We got some
at
good
this
videos.
point, so,
Yeah, we got some very
yes.
good videos. His wife got a really good
If
one
you can
too.
imagine me up there shaking my ass, it was the
Yeah.
dumbest thing.
It was pretty
we
quick,
imagine
too.
it all the time, buddy.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I just did. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. I think I've got some singles around here somewhere.
Yeah. We
Isn't
all
it-
had big bills. We didn't want to waste them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to earn those.
Yeah.
It kind of just totally shocked me when she walked up and did that. Just walks up and actually, I guess she had talked to my sister or something
Yeah.
about it,
Yep.
and she said, "Well, you can't just tuck like $2. They got to be like sweaty, like it's
Yeah,
stripper money."
Spit on it.
Yeah.
And so the girl comes up and she grabs $2 and she shoves it into her bra and rubs it all around on her titties and then pulls it out and shoves it into my shirt. And I was like, all right, well, that was
Yeah. Remember 2 years ago when we couldn't stand next to each other?
Now you got secondhand titty sweat.
exactly.
No, it's not, did it have any cocaine residue on it?
Oh, man, who the hell knows?
She was like digging through her little clutch bag, and he was like, "What the fuck is she getting?" I was like, "Maybe a ball of coke." I don't know. Who knows?
Never know.
Yeah.
Eight ball.
Get the hell up
Speaking
and
of cocaine, it's a good segue.
We
Have
go
you
everywhere,
guys tried any of the new like infused bourbon like cocktail
They have
kits?
cocaine infused bourbon?
No, but it made me think of that.
we
Not
used
anymore.
To,
Second
we used to
question,
be a
where do you
proper.
get it?
We used to
I
be a
could-
proper country before the.
I could
FDA.
probably use some of that right now.
No, to answer your question.
So
no.
any of like the freeze dried bags that they do like infusion cocktails or down to they're doing like sugar cubes. Okay, so
I have not.
shout out Steve Strabbing. He gave me a sugar cube yesterday in like a vial. It's the weirdest shit ever. I have no idea if this is how it's actually distributed, but it looked like
Meth.
yes.
I'll say that.
in a brown sugar cube in a little vial, and it was an infused
tar heroin.
brown. Yeah, that's it. An infused brown sugar cube that you muddle in the bottom of a glass. Add 3 ounces of bourbon, and then
got a
chill it if you
cocktail.
want to, and that's your old fashioned. Add a
Interesting.
cherry, maybe a little bit of
Okay.
juice. It was actually pretty good. I
Interesting.
couldn't get it to dissolve all the way because it's brown sugar. Like it never dissolves all the way unless you
Yeah.
cook it. So like it was a little grainy, but I strained it out afterwards, and it kind of made it better.
Am I the only one that thinks this is a terrible idea?
See-
I'm just thinking,
mean-
you're going to get this stuff made in Mexico, and they're going to ship it up, and every other vial's not going to be that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What you've got to do is get a spoon and a lighter.
So
Find out how good this really
so
is.
2 things. Number 1, get out of my head. And second, some poor bastard's going to have a bunch of that in their car and get pulled over.
Yes.
And just violate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear it's for cocktails.
It wasn't marked. Yeah, it wasn't marked at all. It was just you rattling around in a little can.
I love it.
Yeah, I was like, this is
We'll have to get some of those from Steve and do them on the show. Have
Yeah.
him come on and we'll do that.
yeah, heck yeah. Shout out.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. I might have a job by the way, Scott. So
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yay.
Well, until
Mike
Like
has
I
to
don't
they
fuck
see
with
this.
Until they see your
Mike's like, I get to go to work. Yay.
so I'm at Small Batch's warehouse yesterday doing
By the way, that one with the bottle when you did the commercial.
Oh yeah.
That has to air. That has to air. Did you see it?
I'll play it. Hold on. Hold on. Let me-
Oh my God.
I got
this
I
is-
got Bluetooth on this. Oh yeah, we're in there. Hold on. This is going up, and I'll put the video up too. Jen loved this one.
I thought it was great.
All right, here we go.
If you don't like Wrigley, then fuck you.
That's the whole commercial.
That's it. It's just like Ricky Bobby style, like holding a bottle of whiskey.
I just
going-
heard it, and
Yeah,
I knew
it's
instantly
great.
what that was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I was doing some interviews there, some content with them for their social media and their website, because I've been doing that for a couple months now with them. Indiana Small Batch, the distributor, local distributor here. So I've been doing content with them for a little bit now, and I go to the warehouse yesterday because all the people were in town, and we're doing like a get to know the crew type videos so they can post them on social media and stick them on the website with their headshots. And at the end of it, Toby's like, well, which one do you want to pick? I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, you pick out a bottle and you do a thing too and maybe get in front of the camera. So that was the first thing that I did. But after that, like I was like, what do you want me to say? He was like, well, tell him you're our marketing manager. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Nice.
So he made me stand in front of the camera and record my piece as the marketing manager. So I was like, oh shit, okay.
You missed your opportunity on that. On camera, you should have said, so my salary is.
Right. Pull out a contract.
Solidify this right
I'm getting
now.
paid.
Just
Yeah.
gonna need you to sign this right here.
Yeah.
On,
No, so-
on camera.
We got to talk with them a little bit more, but
Oh, good for you.
I'll be
man.
doing
awesome,
stuff with
man.
them. So
That's actually that's a great move for them.
it would be,
Because
yeah. And so
You're awesome at marketing. You've been great producing all this stuff and everything. Yeah, but I mean, you love this stuff.
Yes,
and this is
it's
going
my
to fit
gig.
your
You
personality.
do
man.
love doing it.
So I asked you the other day, have you
Words.
It's like you were out drinking too.
heard of Old Commonwealth Distillery?
Yeah.
So you have. That's great. I know I've mentioned it to you guys. So it's the original production facility of the original Van Winkles. I think it closed in what, like 2008, 2009?
Somewhere
It's been a
around
while,
there.
15,
Yeah.
16 years now.
It's been gone for a while.
Group of guys bought it again. They're resurrecting it. It's going to open up sometime later this year. So they reached out to me the other day, want me to produce like a documentary for their tasting room.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So like I went from not having anything to do to like
Having a lot to do.
having literally everything to do. So
how
Because
that
this is
works,
normally
isn't
your
it?
slow time.
this is, yes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you're
So-
not
yeah.
you're not really unemployed. You're just
No, I'm just
don't
off-season.
have it's off season. No
So
sports
curious,
right now.
doing a documentary like that, how long does that take you to do something like that? I know you did one for the local town down here.
Depends on how much
Do you have multiple days of footage? Or do
Oh
you
yeah, it'd
get
be
all
like
your
5
fo-
days. Yeah, it'd
Okay,
probably be like
okay,
5 days.
okay.
It'd probably be a lot of stock footage too, because I want to do it historically. So like a lot of the stuff that they're planning on doing is interviewing the living members of the Van Winkles. that-
Julian and
yeah,
all those
Yeah,
guys,
so all the ones that are still around.
I
to
think you should
give
do this
that
like
history.
a drunk history thing, right?
God,
Hire
that's a
some
great
reenactors
idea.
and
So they wanted
documentary with
they wanted to find somebody to kind of like narrate, I guess, and write questions to like ask the family to, be a part of it. So, and my pitch to them was break it up into 3 sections. Like, let's do a 15-minute video. You have a 5-minute intro at the beginning of the tour. You go taste some stuff, take them through. Then you have a middle section. And then at the end, you're going to go sit down at the tasting room, have your 5-minute closer at the end. And then like, it's just spread out. And then you have like one, 15-minute little documentary.
That's a good idea.
That is good.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, when I did the horse soldier tasting, the dude played like a 10-minute video like up front. Like, I mean, we were eating and drinking, so like it wasn't that
Yeah.
bad. But like after like 3 minutes, like you kind of check out.
Do
like,
check out, yeah.
So
Even for the enthusiast,
right,
it's really 10 minutes is a little long because let's get to it.
Yeah,
I want to drink some bourbon and get into it.
oh
That's
man,
kind
it's
of the way
Saturday.
yeah, we
Evan
managed to
Williams-
stretch it into 2 hours.
Yes, we did. That is kind of the way Evan Williams' experience does it. They have a really, really long video you watch, and you're kind of like, I want to go get some
Yeah.
bourbon in my palate here.
Let's
So,
go drink some bourbon. Let's
Yeah.
go see some
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
some Rick
Or do it
Houses
along
and-
the way, like what do the zoos
Yeah.
do? There's you like walk up and push the thing and it like tells you
Yeah.
about the lemurs or whatever.
Interactive.
Like
Well, and I think
Yeah, something like
Bardstown
that.
has you
That
take
yours,
it,
yeah.
like,
Self-
see, I haven't
tour
been there
thing.
yet. Yeah, have you been to Bardstown?
I haven't yet. I want to go.
We need to go. We
It's
need
cool.
to go there.
It's-
I mean, I've been to Bardstown, but not BBC.
Yeah, not BBC though. Yeah.
it's a different experience, much more modern than
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
than
nice
most of these.
restaurant.
And I'm assuming you guys have been to Heaven Hill.
Yes.
Yeah,
I haven't been.
I've
the
never
new
done a
one
tour
since
there.
they've remodeled everything.
I love the way
Oh, it's
they
amazing.
did that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that thing went up like that. I mean,
I've
they
been to
really
the
did a great
parking
job.
lot.
I have also been to the parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again,
I know.
shockingly enough, you were hungover when we
I know.
got there.
Well, Rob, I don't think
Seems
you
to be a
understand just how
theme
much
here.
I drink.
That's his
I
tagline,
don't think
by
you
the way.
understand how much I drink.
That's on the board too.
It's on the board.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a soundboard, Glenn?
We have a soundboard. We just don't use it.
Here's your son.
I have exactly what you have. We only use it
Yeah.
when we do interviews and we're want to actually have decent audio.
Yeah, you probably don't want to fuck around with when you're doing like 2XO interviews and stuff, but
No, we did. We brought that. Yeah. So usually when it's just me and him, we use wireless mics and it's enough,
Yeah.
But when we've got more than just the two of us, and we need
Yeah.
to bring out some extra mics. And
yeah, we got some of the smaller ones. We each have a set.
Those things are fantastic.
They're
Yeah.
great. I mean, like plugs into your phone. I've got an adapter so I can plug it into the camera. It's just a little magnet.
They do
I
need
know
to
you
be able
guys
to
have the
pair
Rode
up,
ones.
like,
Yeah,
more
but we
than
can only
four pairs
you can only
of
pair two of them.
Yeah,
so like
that's the problem.
That's the
But-
So
word.
we've
so-
got two, and they work great, and we'll plug in a lavalier to them,
Yeah.
so it's just a little bit better. But once you
still
have
a pain.
Yeah,
But like
it
the Rode ones, like Rode makes a 4-pack, but it's like $1,200.
I have a
Yeah.
see. I didn't know they made a 4-pack.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got the
They're
Rode,
just stupid
the 2-pack,
expensive.
but
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
But you can't put two 2-packs together.
Right.
You have to buy the 4 because that receiver is made for the
Right.
4.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably piece it out and like buy like a reman one
Mhm.
off like B&H or
You
something,
should just be able to
and
pair
then pair
phones,
it.
like
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bluetooth connection between
Right.
multiple phones with
Yeah.
multiple receivers.
I know, but
I mean,
it's
it's
so
just
stupid.
software. Solve the problem already.
It's not like we
Yeah.
have an. It's not
Well,
like
then
we
they
have an
wouldn't be
IT
able to
guy
sell
over
you
here
more
that could do that
equipment.
for us.
Yeah,
And
right.
they couldn't charge $1,200.
That's true.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
very true.
Because that's been our thing. Like when we go places, like I mean, it is an aesthetic to like have the mics and the board, and like it's a facade, really. I mean, it definitely helps. Like I got compressors on there and the recording and all that, but like I add audio to video after the fact anyway. So like I'm not pumping anything through the camera. I could, but I like to adjust each track individually. So when we go somewhere, when we go somewhere, like it's a little clunky. It is.
Right.
And sometimes, smaller places might be a little intimidated by like a large setup with 6 people, but
Well,
if you're not
it
sure
is.
how to do it, by the way, both are visuals.
yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah,
We can reach out.
I've already talked to him.
we have many early phone calls throughout the day.
We talked to him about maybe coming down for our Dixon Deadman interview, but it was kind of a situation
They
where
gave him the
we had no
rigmarole.
idea what the situation was going to be, how long we were going to have to set up. So, and it did, just like we thought, it overran about 15 minutes late. So we were scrambling a bit, but everything went well.
It did go well.
And
It's a great episode. I watched it on
Yeah.
the way up, and
So
we're
we,
excited.
Eric Jansen, shout out,
Shout out to
brought
Eric.
in those 2XO bottles
Yeah.
last year. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
1202, baby.
12:02.
There we go.
Either that or
The storm
we're about to
siren.
get wiped out by a tornado.
No, just Saturday.
Just Saturday at
just
12:02.
Saturday. It's no quarrel. Yeah, I can't remember which ones those were. But from what I remember, they were solid pours.
We had one bottle of the 2XO on the bar, and it didn't last long. But
Yeah, but they were pricey,
was
right?
not-
Weren't they like 89 or 90?
Well, they have. So what we did was the French oak and the Kiowa blend, right?
Yeah, so he's got his oak series, which are the everydays. There's the American oak, and now the French oak is the newest release in that, and they're going to keep adding to that. So those are just standard, and those are going to retail between $35 and $50, and
Oh,
they're
shit.
just
Okay.
all the
Nice.
time.
nice.
And they're absolutely solid,
good pours. Yeah.
especially for the money. And then the step up from that is his Icon series, which are a larger release. They're seasonal. I think he said he's doing them twice a year, and when they're gone, they're gone.
That's what I had was the Icon.
Yeah.
Icon,
So
yeah.
there's the Phoenix, Innkeeper.
Now was the Kiowa, was that one of the
Kia
icons?
was the
Okay.
newest one that we just drank, and they're always, there's a backstory to them and something special, tribute blend.
Yeah.
And then the most expensive one that he does, and he's doing these once a year apparently, is Gem of Kentucky, which is a single barrel double oaked, and those are priced. Those are $200.
Yeah.
He's
so-
probably the only one to distill with limestone water, right?
Right,
I
nobody else
That's
does.
probably what makes them all special.
right. I can't think of any limestone water.
But what was
Never-
cool
What
is
is that?
is
That
he
is
uses
weird.
an oak chain, so it's
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
stainless steel
Yep.
cord, and it's got chunks of oak
Yep.
on it, and he puts it in the barrel, and it's the same exposure
area,
as a barrel would be.
So RD1 does that with their Amberana. They cut their staves up like that.
Enjoy live harness racing action at Harrah's Hoosier Park, Tuesday through Saturday through November 30th. First post on weeknights is 6:15 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Saturdays. Also enjoy the Hop Bebop concert series to go along with racing on Saturdays with local musical acts live from the Hop Outdoor Recreational Area from 7 to 10 p.m. Admission is free. Harrah's Hoosier Park, premier gaming in the heart of the Midwest.
Drops them in.
Chain, yeah.
And I think he said it cost him
Rob's
$25
favorite Amberana.
for an oak chain as opposed to however much a barrel would
$150,
cost.
$200 minimum
Yeah.
for a barrel.
Yeah.
And you can pull it back out
Yep.
Right.
instead of just sticking it in there.
And then sell it in your
That's what
gift
she said.
shop.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Do you have a That's What She Said button?
Oh, man. No, but we should.
That has to come. too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would
That's
have
what
been a
she
good one.
That's what she said.
I got the Hawk Tua girl on there still from last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not sick of hearing that yet.
Oh God.
That
I
chick
saw-
is everywhere.
I just wish I would have thought of it first.
I saw the most creative post this morning about the Hawk Tua girl. So it's a guy who does, I guess typically he plays the music backwards where they do the older rock music. where
Subliminal
you-
Yeah.
messages.
Subliminal
and he's
stuff.
playing a Led Zeppelin track, and he builds it up like it's a serious video, and he's like, oh, I can't believe I just discovered this, and he starts playing it backwards, and it's the Hawk Tua girl.
Oh, God.
I did not see that coming
Oh,
at all.
that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what we need to work on is the next thing to go viral. Mike, get on that.
It'd be great if we could get one of those.
I know. I just got to show the world my tits.
It's good.
I'm not sure that your tits are going to do it, buddy.
I don't think they will. So I
No.
have this nice new tattoo. I'll show you guys later when I stand up again. But for the last
It's
2
not
years,
on your tits, is it?
No, it is
But
tits.
It
does
is
have
tits.
Yeah, it is tits. It's a dragon with titty eyes. So it's a titty dragon.
Seems pretty legit.
Yeah.
Literally, since we've known this guy, he's been telling everyone we all need to get titty dragon tattoos.
He started it.
I did.
You started
I
it.
think it was you, actually.
Oh.
I think you did start
I don't
it.
remember starting.
My
much.
dedication was I'm gonna blast it on my knee, and you were like, "You won't fucking do it."
He wouldn't do it for you, though, would he? He's
No,
like,
he put it on the
he's like,
side.
you do not want to do
Yeah.
the knee.
Whatever.
Wait a minute. Are you married?
I am married. Yes.
Well, right now.
It's kind of like my employment, where like
It's questionable day to day.
I usually get the summers off, but then like during the fall, like I gotta be home.
Hall pass.
That's when you get all your cool tattoos.
Yeah. Well, no, I can't. I mean, I told her I was doing it, but then I didn't like tell
She
her.
probably
that day I
said
was
that he's
doing
an
it.
idiot,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I told her I was gonna do it like a year ago, but then like I went to get my tattoo and she was like, "What are you gonna do today?" I was like, "I don't know." And I came home. She's like, "You're fucking."
I thought it was a joke. I thought
Yeah.
this was a funny joke.
So their thing was we're gonna go back to our tattoo guy, and Rob said that Jen's gonna sneak a 100 to our tattoo guy Charlie to put sunglasses on it.
Cover
Joke's
it
on
up.
you. They're not gonna have any lenses.
Oh,
it's a titty sticking
Sticking
out
out the glasses.
glass
There
one.
you go.
Yeah.
It's just more emphasis, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's
All
perfect.
right. Anyways,
anyway.
More emphasis on the titties. That's never
Yeah.
a bad thing.
more
It,
emphasis.
it really
Sorry,
isn't.
Deanna.
It
It's
really
not.
isn't a bad thing.
So you
Speaking
guys
of
have been
titties.
doing this for a couple years.
It'll be 2 years in October. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what would you tell somebody wanting to get into doing podcasting or doing YouTube for fun? I mean, do you have any recommendations for people, or
Ye-
run and hide and don't ever fucking do this, or what?
I will. We're fortunate. I think we're hitting some momentum and we're having some, I don't know if you want to call it success or whatever. We're getting to do fun stuff. And that was the whole point of this. Like,
Exactly.
if you're getting into this to make a bunch of money, like,
Don't do it.
you're not going to do it because you're going to spend way more.
You're not
Yep.
Fred Minnick.
You're not
Yeah.
Fred Minnick,
Yeah.
and you're not going to be Fred Minnick.
Right.
And short of getting your titties out every episode, you probably ain't,
Yeah.
it ain't
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
But
Here's your sign.
we, what I would say is, we do it because this is stuff we would be doing anyways. Like
Yeah.
we would get together and drink bourbon and talk about it and, text each other. Did you see this release or that release, or this is cool? So find what you want to do. And if it's something you're going to do anyways and you want to film it, people
Yeah.
watch, great. But that's how we've always been. We've never once said, we should do this episode this way because it'll get a bunch of views, or we should start doing this and that. Like we just have what we do and do it
So
People
you're
like
saying
it or
this,
they don't.
And
this is not a retirement plan?
well, not yet.
Maybe
Not
a
yet.
die early plan.
No,
Cheers.
but so my advice would be, it's all about consistency. Don't even start it unless you know you're going to be consistent with it. And I would say, don't even post an episode until you have 20, maybe. You know, if we were going to go back and do it again,
yeah.
yeah,
Those first few
give
weeks
yourself a
are
little
hard
buffer.
to get into that
They
routine.
are, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
And it's hard for, I mean, we're both full-time. We both have full-time jobs. We both have families. We both have stuff to do. And it's hard. We try to get together once a week if we can, and we'll film 3 or 4 episodes. And then just during the week, we'll try to do some shorts or some funny videos or post some pictures and
Which
stuff.
isn't as bad for you guys, because I'll preface this with your all stuff is shorter form content,
Right.
like Logan's, where it's 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Compared to what we do is sit here and talk shit for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
when we first started, our episodes were a little bit longer. We were talking a lot about the history of the distillery, stuff that we're interested in, but we quickly found out most people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
And that's all this stuff, like he said, you Google it, like they're going to find it, or
Yeah.
go do a tour. Like,
yeah,
Yeah, that's like
people want to
going-
hear your stuff.
Going crazy
right?
with the
Like,
bourbon
yeah.
thing when they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that was from level M in that rick house. It sucks.
Right.
Like, one, I don't even know the names of the rick houses,
Right.
let alone how many levels are in
Yeah.
them.
Like you asked back,
And-
you ever seen the Rick House?
Right.
Like-
Exactly.
I can't remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. I can't remember which Rick
Same.
House I prefer or
Yeah.
what, but
With the
I think
exception
that
of like,
12 to 15 to 20 minute range.
I'll let
Yeah.
the
is about
distiller
right.
keep track of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I
my
don't
only
need to.
exception to like the Rick House and all that is going to be like the recipes from Four Roses, because like that's
Yeah.
like their thing. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Heaven Hill with Elijah Craig and like some of their stuff is a little noted the same way, but Four Roses really like leaned into that with all of their
Right.
recipes.
Yep.
It's like
So you can
the warehouse
target
stuff.
what you
Yeah,
like. Like
yeah.
that's my
So, like,
flavor.
with the
That's in my
exception of that.
wheelhouse.
Like I'm
Right.
not gonna go pick up a barrel and be like, oh, this was in blah blah blah.
Right.
Like
Yeah, and obviously there's legitimacy to it. It does matter where
Right.
the barrel was in a rick house and maybe which rick house and which facility it was at. I'm just saying,
It's
I can't
super
remember
important.
all that
Right,
shit.
yeah.
Well, and
Like-
If you're
all-
doing all the blending and everything, right,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
might want to know that. That's kind of your job. But
Yeah.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
throw the invite out to you guys. You guys are welcome. If you can't, no worries. But August the 3rd, Heaven Hill's coming out, and we're going to be doing the Midwest kickoff of the Grain to Glass.
Oh, okay.
That's
Or
awesome.
Grain, is it Grain to Glass? Is
Yep.
what they're calling
Grain
it?
to Glass,
Grain
yes.
to Glass.
Yes.
That whole series. So they're going to come out here and have the tastings, and we're going to have the bottles here for
Cool.
pours. So, you guys come up and hang out. I'm sure we'll do some recording that day, too. And
Yeah.
maybe you guys come in and tell us all your tasting notes on it.
All our
I'm not
it's real good.
It's
It's
good.
marzipan.
It's real good.
I'm not gonna say all this, but we met with Jim Romanek. Shout out Jim. I know you
Jim.
listen to this every day. We were given some special content from him regarding this grain to glass stuff. So I've got the training packet for that. I'm not gonna give out all the info. You got to figure it out for yourself. But I'll at least tell you 3.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen most of these?
I've seen
What you sent us.
me some
What I
stuff.
sent you?
The video. Yeah.
Yeah,
that video was well done.
That was
I know,
very well
I know
done.
I shared that, and
I
everyone
thought
was
he-
like,
I was
"Did you make
do
that?" I was like, "I fucking wish." He's
You
like, tune in
should've
August.
just took credit for it.
When I
Yeah,
do,
yeah, man.
Well, I don't need a cease and desist along with my other arrest records. So,
Yeah.
so the 3 are wheated bourbon, bourbon, and rye. So the straight bourbon whiskey is 35 rye, 52 corn, 13 malt. It's gonna be 107, and I'm not gonna read the rest of that. That's just
Nah.
what that is.
That sounds
You
delicious.
look it up.
The next one is the wheated bourbon, 35 wheat, 52 corn, 13% malt at 121 proof.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley.
Yep.
With the wheat too. So
That's a proofy weeder.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I kind of prefer Weeder's a little higher proof.
it's like the Larceny barrel proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see like I want to compare this one to
To
like
Larceny.
Larceny like A124 because that one was
That was good.
super good.
Is that the
C923
one-
was really
Was that
good
the one
too.
I hated? The
So we-
A124?
The new one? Really?
Really? The A124?
And I don't know if we got a bad bottle or what, but
Well, we'll come back. Somebody remind me.
wait.
Weeder. Keep going.
Here's the test, though. Did you like Elijah Craig C923?
I liked it.
Get
I
the
didn't
fuck
like,
out. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
didn't like it as much as A123. I thought A123
Oh, yeah, I
was
did
the
too.
best.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well-
I thought the C923 was a little overproofed. I thought it was a little
A
too
little
hot.
oaky, a lot, very
I thought it
oaky
was
too.
Way over
just
oak.
It's
Well, we
massive
found out
oak.
that
Yeah.
Will had done a deep dive on this, and we found out that there were two releases of
Yep.
it, and the one we got here in Indiana, I mean, it was oaky as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we didn't like it at
Drying.
all. But the one
Drying
that
on
he
the
tried
palate.
down in Louisiana, he said it was absolutely delicious. So
Yeah,
it's
the
like, okay,
laser code controversy.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
So that's what Will found out with that one. So
Yeah.
the last grain to glass one is going to be the rye. It's 63 rye, 24 corn, 13 malt, coming in at 123.2.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So you guys watched the video that I posted.
Yes.
So it's a super cool video. Everybody can see that. It's on our YouTube page. It's on Heaven Hill's website, so I didn't steal it.
Nope.
But I posted it on our YouTube so everyone else can see it. Since I have such a massive following, I know it's going to reach the masses. But
Everybody,
everyone in the
everybody.
world is going to see it. That's my claim to fame, is that I reshared a video.
Love it.
Nice.
It's not working.
I love what they're doing as a big company, like as a massive company.
They're going back to family,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
A massive
Yeah.
company, but still family owned.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it tells me that like the focus, and maybe this is just me reading into it. I love craft distilleries. I mean, I freaking love craft distilleries. Small, medium sized, good, bad, indifferent, young, whatever. I love it because you always feel like a rock star when you're there. They make you
Right.
feel like your family.
Yep.
Every bottle is rare because they don't have a ton of it.
Right.
And this gives me that kind of craft distillery, going back to that of like, hey, this is the exact corn we use, and this is where it came from, and this is what we're doing. The transparency's on the bottle.
Who
And I-
farms it?
Yeah, and
everything.
I love that because the story sells the bottle, right? Like
Right.
people want to have an experience associated with it. I'm excited to try all of those.
And I think I agree too, because it is a good thing that they're going back to like the family roots with it, because the craft distilleries are the biggest threat to the big six right now.
Yeah.
So like, you know,
Yes.
when everyone else is like, oh, the bourbon boom is over, like, no, it's not.
no, it's not.
No, it's not. You're
No,
just
it's
getting
just
you're just
started.
getting flattened by the
Yeah.
craft distilleries because like they're figuring out a new way to do shit.
I,
Like,
I was talking to my neighbor who's a big bourbon guy and one of our subscribers, and shout out to Yin's Tube, but he said that that it's death by 1,000 paper cuts for the big boys. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Wild Turkey and Four Roses and Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace, they don't have to worry about kind of each other. They know what each other is doing, but you don't know what the 400 new craft distilleries are doing to kind of eat into your market share. So by themselves, they're no real threat.
Yeah.
But you get them together and you've got an army of a huge diverse portfolio that can really start to hurt your business. So, you know, not that I think that that's playing into this, but I do like, I love everything about.
But
the
what's
Seven
cool
Hills.
about it though is the same thing that you saw with the craft beer revolution is all of a sudden the big boys who were okay with just putting out the Bud Light and the Miller Light or whatever, now they have to work a little bit, right? And
Yep.
go back to the drawing
Well,
board
they,
and
they bought into it, right?
Well,
Or they
that
just
too,
buy,
yeah.
go out, they buy
They go out
them.
and buy 'em,
Which,
yeah.
you know, honestly, I don't have a problem with that, because when you think about these craft brewers, craft distillers, right? They're starting businesses.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They're trying to capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
When somebody comes in and says, here's $50 million for your business, you
Thank
go,
you.
Thank you.
Almost started another company.
Exactly.
Yep,
I'll
yep.
go do something else, or
By
I'll
the way,
go.
I don't know what's going on, but my
Speaking
glass
of craft
is empty.
distillers,
My
we should
God.
probably
Let's move to a craft one then.
That Peerless over there, maybe.
You want to go? Yeah, if we're going to go, let's
Oh,
go
yeah.
Peerless.
But what I was going to say
Start
though
us
is
off.
what's
Start this
cool
way,
about
yeah.
bourbon in general is that, yeah, they're all competitors, but they also help each other out. Speaking of Heaven Hill, last time I was out at Heaven Hill, I ran into Ted and Christian Huber, and
Oh, nice.
forgive me, I can't remember Ted's wife's name, but they were all out there doing a barrel pick, and I know that Heaven Hill helps out a ton of craft distillers and helps them, you know,
Well,
gives
look,
them a lot of
yeah.
guidance.
It's a multi-year process, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the issue, and when you're having to, you know, do that investment over that amount of time, it means that you're going to need some help, right? You're going to need somebody that knows what they're doing, give you a little bit of insight. I mean, we've talked with Mark over at Moondrops, right? And he had Alan Bishop that he's worked with quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's a great way to support the community. And I got mine.
I got him. Yeah.
It's a great way to support the overall community and lift the bourbon, you know, as a whole, which to me is better because it stops people from chasing all the stuff that is really freaking just, I mean, seriously, going out and like camping out in front of liquor stores and stuff. Just like, guys, you're totally missing the point of sitting around drinking bourbon with your buddies.
And I stopped doing that. Quick story. I haven't been to a bourbon release in like 4 or 5 years because I showed up to a liquor barn release where they used to send an email and say, hey, we're going to release
Charlie's
12 and this, that, and the other.
Now.
No, I haven't been to like a liquor barn or whatever.
Okay.
And
you mean like
I was like, we
lottery
were like Charlie 2 weeks
and
ago.
all that,
He was in line for the cigar badge.
And I showed up to liquor barn. I was like, I'll get there. They open at 9. I'll get there at 7. I'll bring my camp chair. I'll be in line. I showed up a little before 7 and I was 150 in line.
Wow.
And I was just like, never again. Never. Like if it's that, like people camped out the night before. I was like, I'm choosing not to participate.
Yeah, I'm out.
So
I'm out. I don't want anything to do with it. That whole scene.
Yeah, Mark's always going to be the first in line at those.
Especially you get there and you're waiting in line and guys are talking about, how much do you think this is going to go for on secondary? I'm like,
immediately,
get the fuck out.
And then when you've got, you're going to stand in line to be in a lottery for the chance to purchase.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend all that time.
Price. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, even if you're making $20 an hour, man, it's still worth it to go work instead of sit here.
No, thank you.
So is this a finished?
This is a toasted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because it almost has that mapley kind of nose to it.
It has an awesome.
The toast can do.
So tell us about this one then, because we've had the toasted a while back. But enlighten us again.
Glenn went to this release. Yeah. Now we will go to a Peerless release.
Yeah, so they released the toasted, and then they had an 8-year single barrel bourbon and an 8-year single barrel rye.
This is fantastic.
Which was well worth standing in line, for 45 minutes for. So this is 111.1 proof. This is batch 1 of the toasted, which I believe they're releasing batch 2 here in a
July
couple weeks.
13th, I believe.
13th.
Yeah, I saw their teas on that one.
Yeah, and I love this bottle.
I'm enjoying these bourbons, but I'm not going to give tasting notes today. I'm pretty sure my palate is completely jacked. Yeah.
These are, like, the thing I love about Peerless is, and I was talking to someone, I can't even remember who I was talking to now, but they were like, I can't get into Peerless. It's too expensive. I feel like I'm just paying for the bottle. And I kind of rebuked him. I said, like, listen, like, that's a serious bourbon. Yeah. Like this is not a starter bourbon. This is concentrated bourbon flavor in a bottle. Like this is when you're reaching, like we talked about this in an episode of like on a cold winter night, like I want something that's like hearty and warming and like just a sock you in the mouth flavor. That's what Peerless is. And they are consistently that all the time.
You just want to lay on a bearskin rug with a fire
Yeah.
and write some limerick.
And whenever you go down to
100%.
Peerless, you can go in there and you can get a lot of these releases that are still there.
Yeah.
It's not going to like everything's going to sell out first time. They always have some really unique stuff in the gift shop. So it's nice to go in there.
Yeah, you get to see Rye Cat.
You're right. The price is a little higher, but you're going to get a great bottle. I don't think I've ever had a Peerless. I'm like, that's not my jam.
Never had a bad bottle. Have you had the double oaked rye?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have that in my bar at home.
I started to bring that today, and I thought, I don't want to say that.
One. Yeah, save that one.
That for me.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
My favorite thing about Peerless is like, it's the story, it's the family. Like when you go to some of these big six distillery tours, like, I mean, unless you're going with like Freddie, most of the time the tours are fairly scripted, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Disneyland.
yeah,
It is.
Turnstile.
you go to Peerless, you're hearing the same story over and over in a different way.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows this, everybody's lived the story. Like whoever's doing your tour is a part of that story. Yeah. So like it like you said with the craft stuff, they treat you like royalty. They treat you like family when you go through there. So
and
like,
I will say this, I've never been to Peerless and not ran into Corky Taylor.
True.
He's been there every single time.
Same.
We were there when I was there a couple weeks ago doing the barrel pick, where it was kind of cool because they take us upstairs and they've got a really nice room. Walk by and there's
a barrel
Corky
pick?
sitting at his desk in his office. I'm like, hey.
Did you do a barrel pick?
Yeah,
I don't think you've mentioned it.
Oh, with Bruzel?
With Bruzel. Yeah. Do you guys know who Bruzel is? Have you seen his content? I'll have to share his content with you.
Yeah,
he's
he's
huge
big
following.
on the bourbon hunt videos. So
Okay.
he's got, I don't know, 650,000 followers. Yeah.
650,000 subscribers on
Okay.
YouTube.
Wow.
So yeah.
So he gets pretty much whatever he
I'll
wants.
be honest, man. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. I've got a couple one cigar podcast I listen to.
Rob's like, fuck, I don't listen to this one.
I just don't have. Honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm here. I don't have
You're
to
here.
listen
You
to
live
it again. But I just don't feel like I have a lot of time to do that. But I'll throw them on the background when I'm traveling, and I
Same.
always find with some of those unique ones out there. You know, like you guys. I listened to you guys this last week, and it's like I hadn't listened to you
sorry.
before.
Hey, there was those 5 views we got. High five.
But I mean, it's just one of those things where I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't find time to do it anymore.
I'm
busy.
Glenn, it drives Glenn crazy sometimes. I don't watch any YouTube content, like on YouTube or any bourbon stuff. Like I don't watch it because I don't want to be like corrupted by it, right? Like I don't want people to be like, oh, you're ripping that off, which we may be, but it's not going to be on purpose. And
But how many ways can you say I drink bourbon and I like bourbon?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, come
Yeah.
on.
100%.
No one's ripping this shit off.
And
They're doing their own thing.
Now, with that being said,
I
everybody
watch-
should go and subscribe to
Right.
SoIn2Bourbon
Like,
on YouTube
subscribe.
because
Yeah.
we're different and
Yes,
special.
You are different and special.
And
Yeah.
I
Please
do.
subscribe to
I
us,
check,
but also
I
fuck
check
you
them
guys.
out every now and then. Just if I see something interesting pop up, and I'm like, oh, I'd like to hear. Especially like if we've done something, and I know what our thoughts are on something. And every now and then, I'm curious. Well, I wonder what they thought of it. you
Yeah.
know? And sometimes we're completely opposite on what we feel about something
because
you
we're
know.
idiots. But
Well, that's one of the reasons why the one podcast I listen to on cigars, I usually listen to that just for my rant for the week to what I think they did wrong or said wrong. So
So
it's
you
more-
listen out of
it's more
spite?
fun.
I love
Oh,
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great. It's
out
great.
of spite,
It's
listen.
My ears bleed when I listen to a few of them.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
The strength-o-meter. Sorry.
God
That's
And
bless.
it is.
That's
it
a sore
gets-
subject
I mean,
for me.
it's tempting when you're putting content out, and obviously you want to grow your audience.
Yeah.
It's tempting to look at the shiny thing and say, "Oh, well, they're doing this, and they've got so many thousands of followers. Maybe
Yeah.
we need to start doing that." And we've been tempted by that a few times, and ultimately, we always come back around to, no, we're going to do what we like to do, and if
Yeah.
people watch it, they watch it. If they don't, they don't. You
Right.
know, and as long as we're still enjoying it, we're
That's all
going to
that
keep doing
matters.
it.
But
If
every
we're not, we're
platform
gonna
is
stop.
different too. And the best example is Mark with the Bourbon Life, because you look at like his Instagram, he's got like 60,000 Instagram followers. I mean, his podcast is huge, but his platform is iTunes and
Yeah.
Spotify. If you go to like Podbean, just like ours, like there's nobody on Podbean. Like nobody really subscribes to Podbean. It's just a distribution
Sure.
channel. But then, you know, you go to his YouTube page too. He's got like 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, but like nobody watches the videos on YouTube because
Right.
they don't really get into the video aspect of that.
Yeah.
Like, so they're bye Isaiah, bye Victoria.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Have a good time. That's Isaiah. He's
That's
the one
Isaiah.
that
He's
started
the one.
the podcast.
He's the one that
Oh, okay.
started this
Gotcha.
with me.
Gotcha.
He actually was he was our first employee we had here, and then he decided to get married and start a new job and go back to school.
What a
I
loser.
don't have time.
What an idiot.
Whatever.
Idiot.
So
wrong
anyways,
with him?
with the platform, like, you know, it's everybody has their own platform, like the audience that they reach, and like his is just not YouTube.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, like the subscribers came in, but that's because he's got 60,000
Right.
on Instagram, and he's like, "Hey, subscribe to this." So everyone
And they
did,
just click
Right.
over.
but they don't watch on YouTube. So like,
And we've been told that by some other people that have successful podcasts and do different formats that like, well, we don't do YouTube. Like, kudos for you all for being on camera. We don't do YouTube. And we're like, well, we don't do podcasts. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe we're the idiots.
I
for not
don't
doing
feel like what we do on YouTube would translate well over to audio only, with the exception of some of the interviews, like
Yeah.
the Dixon Deadman and the.
It's kind of tough when you're trying to
Ken
describe the
Shriner.
color
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the viscosity.
Well, and
and
when-
hey, if you could just see this.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
when you look like me, you need to be on camera and let the people see you.
Of course.
Like, this
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
a face that needs
Yeah.
to be shared with the world.
yeah, Michael Rappaport's doppelganger over here.
That's the one thing I was kind of
Michael
curious
Rappaport,
about.
I like that. I
was
always
good.
go with Phil Collins. But
That was the thing that kind of shocked me the most when because Mike's been checking out the analytics and all the stuff on the show, and I was
I'm a nerd.
shocked at how much YouTube views we were getting over podcasting. I
Yeah.
mean, podcasting probably is still more,
It is.
but you're a different audience.
Ours
You know,
is ours is
driving
also
door.
iTunes. Like we get a lot. Like 94% is iTunes.
That's crazy.
The
Wow.
other 6 is split between Spotify and iHeart, actually. I wouldn't think that a lot of people would listen to us on iHeart, but it's on there. I mean,
Well, I wonder is iHeart is
just Fox.
iHeart pumping out to the Google maybe?
yeah, because that goes to the Google search bar.
So that might be why it could be.
yeah.
showing
You know
up
where our
there.
show would really work well? Sirius XM. So
can
if
try
you
that.
want to hire us,
Yeah,
Well,
serious.
Well, there is a
We'll get our own
service.
channel.
we're now accepting.
Well, there is a thing where I think it's like $40 an episode or something where you can like pay them to play your stuff.
Really?
So like I thought about doing that too, but
It'd be
right
interest-
now we're just focusing on like we are heavily focused on YouTube right now.
Right.
Yeah.
With the video content, because especially when we go do distillery tours and stuff, like we do the video walkthrough and like the tasting and like we do it up.
Well,
so we're
YouTube
trying to
is
lean into
essentially-
that.
And by we, it's Mike.
You know,
I've
behind
got a
Google,
mic. His name's Glenn.
it's
He's
the biggest search engine there is, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
But
where all
so the thing
potential
with
is.
like Instagram, you know, and like you mentioned earlier was just consistency. And that's the thing with like Facebook and Instagram is the algorithm requires consistency.
Yep.
The YouTube algorithm is a little different. Now the views for your shorts do not play into your public watch hours. Your
Really?
public watch hours are part of your long form content on your videos. So like we have, I don't know, I think we hit 60,000 views this week on the channel just in general. But most of those come from the shorts because we get, 1,000 on a short we post or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, I schedule them out on Monday and then they just play all week. Sometimes Tuesday I get like 4 views. None.
Yeah, it's
and
it's
then like
interesting to
so
try
like
to figure out.
Yeah, this morning like the one that aired yesterday on the shorts had like 100 views throughout the day. I checked it this morning, it's up to like 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from yesterday to today, but it played all day yesterday, so it's
It's the Chinese spies.
Well,
that's what it is.
Well,
It's the
and
Russians.
shorts are a totally different animal
It
too
is.
than long form. And Charlie and I, we try to post on Instagram. I've got a TikTok. We post on that, and sometimes it's funny because you can post the same short on YouTube and TikTok,
And Instagram.
and one will get 100 views, and the other one
Right.
will take off and get 11,000.
Yeah.
And you're like, why?
Yeah.
But it's and
So
with
I
the
started
short
doing that,
content.
yeah.
I hate to say it, but the shorter and the dumber, the more views it's
Right.
gonna get.
Yeah.
And like Bruzel with like you
Yeah.
like you said with Bruzel, his stuff is hunting videos.
Yeah.
People eat that shit.
They
up.
Oh, yeah,
love-
they love
my
it.
gosh.
They want to
yeah.
see what they can't buy, and like he's gonna find it.
Right.
Yeah,
right?
we did. It's that FOMO, that living vicariously through.
Right.
Like, I want to be able to walk into a liquor store and be like, negotiate and go to
Yeah.
the back room. And I did a poll on YouTube. I think it was like, what do you guys want to see? What do our subscribers want to see? And unanimously, they were like, bourbon hunting videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Well, and not that we won't. We may do one here and there, but that's just not what we do. And when I was talking to Bruzel, he started about the same time we did. He's only been doing this for 2 years, and he said he toiled and toiled with not getting a lot of views, and then he did something stupid. He poured Weller into a lawnmower or something, and just completely blew up. And from that point on,
That's about where
You know.
Weller belongs.
now he's doing,
Amen.
multiple barrel picks a week and selling them out in one day. And he's
Yeah.
building a distillery down there in Alabama.
That's crazy.
Did I see that there's like an $8,000 bottle of Weller out there now?
Millennium, I think
15,
it's called.
yeah,
So-
14 and a half, but yeah.
So stupid. Gosh.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just a blend of
Give me a
other
blended whiskey at
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
grand. Let's go.
New. Yeah,
New.
I don't like.
And it's a
so-
weeder.
Yeah, going back to you guys we were talking about the larceny.
Yes, give us your hate with the larceny.
I don't like weeded bourbons.
That's
I
okay.
don't
Neither do
either,
we.
But I like larceny barrel
Yeah.
proof.
Yeah.
We've
I-
definitely got into it more this year
This
for
year.
sure.
Yeah.
And it really, for me, it really started with Holiday, with the soft red
Soft
wheat.
red wheat.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
what like opened my eyes.
Now I like anything from Holiday.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
those
make- they
guys
make
are
some
so
good stuff.
different.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
But it kind of opened us up to like try other stuff
Yeah.
because like, and then we tried at West Fork. They have a Bloody Butcher wheat, which
Which-
was like,
stupid good.
Yeah,
my
I don't
God.
have that one. I have.
we didn't try
No,
that.
they haven't
Yeah.
released
oh, it's in the
yet.
barrel still.
Oh,
It's
Still
still-
in the
okay.
barrel. It's good.
I do. It's funny you mentioned West Fork because I have a bottle of the West Fork barrel proof weeder, just their regular weeded barrel proof, and I actually kind of like that one, and
Yeah.
it's a little proofier.
Well,
I feel like we've been getting challenged by wheats.
we have been
A
a
lot,
lot.
yeah, a
And
lot.
It's like the
we did a
distillers know it and
podcast
they
with-
bring them.
We did a podcast with Blake and the guys over there, and he got a lot of stuff out of the barrels for us to try. Their barrel proof stuff is actually delicious.
It's fantastic.
It's when they proof it down, it's not doing
Loses
the thing.
that punch to it.
And I get why distilleries do that. They can spread more bottles out, and the mindset is we make more money that way. I might just charge $20 more a bottle and sell it barrel proof. People aren't gonna. You know,
Right.
you're going from $35 to $55.
Yeah.
No one's gonna care if it's barrel proof.
I wonder what their focus groups and things say. Like, I often think that we're the exception, not the norm. That I think that barrel proof bourbon, like we look at barrel proof bourbon, we're like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the average bourbon drinker, and especially, they have to think 5 years ahead, the people that are getting into bourbon, if the first bourbon you ever try is 135 proof, weeded madman, it may not go so well if that's the first experience you have with bourbon. So I would love to talk to somebody at that level and see how much that decision plays into proofing it down.
I'd say like from Bardstown, you could probably draw a circle, like go 250 miles out, draw a circle. That's the barrel proof crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody that's around
Right.
this area. As soon
At
as you
least
get
the big
outside of this
majority
area,
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
then people start going,
Well, I
And
mean,
that's
look
kinda
at
this
what's
area,
the
too.
best-selling bourbon in the world. It's
Jim
Jim
Beam.
Beam White.
yeah.
Yeah.
That answers your question right there. Yeah.
But that's the thing too, is like what you were saying, a craft distillery doing that. I could see them having those 90 proofers on the bar, because the guy that's getting into
The house
bourbon's
bourbon,
probably not
yeah.
buying a bunch of bottles yet.
Right.
He's going to go out and he's going to go to distilleries. He's going to try stuff, and then as he gets into bourbon, then you can go out and buy the barrel proof ones.
Right.
Bottom line is, if you don't like it that proof, throw an ice cube in it. You're
Right.
fine.
So I think going along with like the craft talk with the craft distillers, I think it's good with like the content creators too, because I feel like maybe we're the focus group now, right? Like there's so many content
We
creators
do buy a lot of bourbon.
that they
Especially for the
Well,
bourbon
yeah, and
bottle
like-
buyer.
Well, and it's
do
free
they do?
advertising, right?
it's
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
advertising. You get a different take from a different group of guys.
Final Third Cigar is Indiana's exclusive Aladino Cigar Lounge. Come to Final Third for a selection of over 20 different Aladino cigars, including the Cameroon, a wonderful cigar with nice light flavors. Make sure and visit Final Third, the Aladino exclusive cigar lounge for Indiana.
We don't know it.
A symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, like-
absolutely.
Yeah, so like
Absolutely.
we're unpaid advocates for these brands that, and that's our, when we go do a tasting somewhere, like we always ask to taste the White Dog from their own distillate, because you can't fix a bad mash
That's
in a
right.
barrel. So like, if somebody's like, oh no, we can't let you try the White Dog, then we're like, all right, cool. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's probably not good then.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna hide that shit if it's good.
No.
So I think that it's a good correlation. I think we might be the focus group now.
Yeah.
To
Like
that
as
point,
creators.
if there are any craft distillers watching this, you don't need a marketing team.
Right.
Just
Yeah, we'll
send
do it.
us SoIn2Bourbon, send Final Third
Yeah.
podcast, all your samples. We will market it for you.
Speaking
Yeah.
of that, so
That
what
is
I got
key.
the other day, I reached out to Whiskey Gypsy. You heard of them? It's Eric Church's brand based out of Nashville. Newer. Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about their master distiller a couple times. R.E. Sussman was a Michigan State guy when they were doing distillation at the college, like teaching distillation. So he's their master distiller now. Super knowledgeable dude. I reached out to him. I was like, there's no way these guys are going to respond to me at all. Like, Jeff the Creed turned me down. So like,
Well, that's a big loss.
yeah, well, that's what they told me I didn't have enough of a following. I was gonna email him back and be like, I don't think you have enough.
Did
of
you
a
ask?
following.
Did you ask? Have you ever tasted your product?
Yeah.
So
cheese and
yeah.
crackers.
Right. So, anyways, aside of Jeff the Creed, I reached out to Whiskey Gypsy and I was like, hey, we want to do a podcast with you guys. Like, can we talk to Ari? Like, this would be a great time. They're like, yeah, send us an address. We'll send you stuff. Came in yesterday. Super cool presentation.
It is a very cool presentation.
They sent their regular bottle and then one of the Legacy, which is their higher proof barrel strength, which is like $200 a bottle. I've tried that one before. I have not tried their Legacy one. But they sent the like 2-ounce sample in the sample bottle inside of a hidden book.
Ooh.
So like you have like 50 pages, that's like a notebook, and then you get past those 50 pages
That's
and
cool.
it's a hideaway book.
That was
Super
cool as hell. Yeah, that
So,
was very cool.
We're supposed to be meeting with them sometime. I think it's like the second week of July. Had to move their date because we're going down to Hard Truth to do an episode with with them at Hard Truth.
Love
So-
Hard Truth.
Are you guys fans of the Hard Truth?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It's on the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I will
Yeah.
tell you, man, some of their stuff in the barrels that they're not even releasing
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
It's better than
the
stuff on the
barrel-proof-
market.
They have an Armagnac or a Cognac, I can't remember which one, in the barrel that's absolutely
Well,
freaking
and when I was
delicious.
down there, he was telling me they have a double oak coming soon. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait. We tried to. We were asking them about single barrel picks, and we're like,
There was a new TTB approval for them today. Let me find it.
Yeah, I love it's a great I feel fortunate like that we're in Indiana and our name is a play on so Southern Indiana and Indiana. Like our state is pumping out some awesome
Great.
freaking bourbon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
This is French oak. It's right up Dirk's alley. Dirk, if you're
Okay.
listening to this, Hard Truth is doing a French oak harvest rye.
I
Oh,
like a
Oh.
French.
he'll do
Nice.
another pick there soon. I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, I'm sure it'll be French oak too.
They
See,
French
Scott
oak season.
Scott had his shirt off on there again. That was great.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll
week's
show 'em my
episode.
new tattoo.
"This is confusing
a
me
titty
so
dragon?
much because I
It
keep
is
looking
not,
up here
well,
and I
actually.
expect to
Well,
see
when
myself."
I first had music up there, and I'm like, shit, I don't want Bruce Springsteen, doing a cease and desist on
Yeah.
the podcast. So let's go move
But
over.
speaking of craft distillers and sending samples and presentation, Midwest Spirits
Yeah.
sent us a great little package, right?
So I did
Or Middle West.
Yeah,
not
Middle West Spirits out of Ohio.
Yep.
I found a bottle in Carmel when I was visiting my brother, and it was their sherry cask finish, and it was normally it's one of their limited editions in a tube and everything, and it was marked down to like $70. I was like, well, I'm not going to not buy that, and I bought it, and I texted Glenn. I was like, I'm just going to reach out to them and say like, can you give me any notes? Because we'll do an episode about it. And they were so nice, like put me in contact with their marketing person. They're like, send me your address, I'll send you our kit. Sent us this awesome box with this crystal Glencairn in it, and
Nice.
their 3 offerings. Because the reason we did it is one of our viewers said you got to try their pumpernickel rye,
Yeah.
and I was like,
I love pumpernickel.
and I couldn't
Yeah.
find it. I couldn't find it anywhere in Louisville in Southern Indiana. So I reached out to them, and they sent us a pack, and they didn't give us you don't have the followers like Jeff Creed did, but
So I'll preface that with their sales rep reached out to me. Super cool, dude. We're still going to talk to him.
He was trying to sell whiskeys, but
I
he was
still
trying to
don't
do-
like Jeff the Creed, but we're going to talk to him.
Yeah.
So
I think that's how I finished off my night last night.
with Jeff the Creed,
Jeff the Creed.
Yeah,
no wonder you
because
feel like
it not,
shit.
No wonder you
yeah,
feel like shit.
exactly.
he's
It
still
was not by
alive,
choice.
folks.
I didn't want to get up off the couch, and my wife was, walking around.
who
and I
the
said, hey,
fuck
would
in
you
your
pour me
house
a
bought
whiskey?
Jeff the Creed?
Well, I did. Like, if the bottle's, 2.5 years old, 3 years old.
So it's got to
So
be a
it's-
batch 1, which is dog shit.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have a story about Jeff the Creed.
But
so,
it was the smallest amount, so that was bottle kill.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to empty a bottle. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I turn around, I'm like, oh, shit.
Takes one sip, goes.
good.
I don't know that I finished it.
All right, what's your Jeff the Creed
So
story?
a good friend of mine, he used to be the CEO of their parent company. So it's kind of a family-owned company. They're in a bunch of different businesses. So when they started Jeff the Creed, it was kind of a pet project of
Yeah.
the wife, I think. And so I was so excited to get, their first whiskeys. I think they put some vodkas or God knows what else out first. And I was so excited to try their bourbon when it was released. And it was, I was at my buddy's
18
house.
months.
Oh, so he was
And-
watching you drink it.
Oh yeah, and he's not a whiskey guy at all. He's a big tequila guy. So it was.
He
you
probably
said,
loved it.
To quote you, dog shit. No, and then I think they had what is it? The
Bloody Butcher.
Bloody Butcher.
Yeah.
All their stuff is Bloody Butcher.
Which
Moldy.
yeah, and I think I've had one Bloody Butcher that I've liked so far. What was it? The last Bloody Butcher we tried.
Woodhat?
Oh, it was a
Woodhat's
craft
good.
distillery.
Was
Wood
it?
hat.
Had to be
No.
Woodhat. Come on.
Was it?
No, I don't
It
think
wasn't.
Theirs is great.
It wasn't
That one's
Holiday,
fantastic.
Was it?
Maybe it was.
Does Holiday do a Bloody
I think-
Butcher?
No.
No, I don't think they
so.
do.
I'll,
Was it Middle
I'll have
West?
to think on that. Somebody sent us some
It was
samples.
someone sent us a sample.
and we kind of
Yeah,
like that.
which that was the only.
Westville or West.
Was that
What?
West Fork? No.
No, not
No,
Westville.
they don't. Well,
I'll think of it. Anyways,
What?
he's tried one and he liked it.
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to like it.
their 6-year wasn't awful. The newest one.
Jephthah.
Yeah, their 6-year wheat.
And I hate to trash any distiller. Just
Yeah.
because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not good, And I respect.
Obviously, they're still open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
respect any distiller that's actually making their own whiskey and grain to glass. Hey,
And staying in business.
A for effort. Yeah.
And the Jeptha Creed that I've had in their early Jeptha Creed was not good, but neither was the Starlight.
Starlight was
No.
not good.
And I grew up
Right.
right down the road from Starlight. I live right down the hill. It's like my home distillery. We go there all the time. I love those guys. I don't know how many bottles of Starlight. I have them about 30 open, and it was
That's
undrinkable to me.
conservative.
And
When they were in the wine bottles.
yeah,
Oh, it was terrible.
it just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But you look, they stayed in business, and now those guys are like mad scientists, and they put out some
they dialed it in.
really,
Yep.
But
really
they,
good stuff.
yeah, they killed the Finnish market.
The Finnish
early
really
on.
is what
No
got
doubt.
that
But
on
then,
the market.
then
yeah.
they got oversaturated with everything that they were doing, and then they jacked the prices up too, over 110, and then it kind of died off a little bit. So they now all of their special release stuff that they do these releases for that they don't sell out anymore is because there's other shit to try.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah, and
but it's
They're-
not bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
they're
Like,
regular.
I think you're right, though. They've almost put out too much.
Right.
Too
Yeah,
many
you're
different
right.
yeah,
variations.
they shot themselves in the
Every
foot.
week
so,
you have a new release or
and
two
they've
releases.
slowed down a lot, but they're plain old regular. Like if you can go up there and snag a 5-year single barrel proof that's $69 at the gift shop, or it's one of their orphan barrels that's a barrel pick from somebody that's a leftover. Those are really good bottles of bourbon.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
they built another still. They have another Rick House now, so like they can do different things other than just finished products
Right.
now. So when they're doing their distillation stuff, it gives them a little more opportunity to, bring the 5, 7, 10-year products to the market.
And they told us this last year when we were at one of their releases, and we were at an event for them, and they said that 7, 8-year stuff is going to come out toward the end of 2024. So you're going to start seeing some more aged.
And I feel like with a lot of the craft distillers now, like they're getting into that age range now with 7 to 10-year stuff. New Riff 8.
Yep.
Now like they got the rye, the bourbon. They got their what was the one that I just picked up? It was the old New Riff. Which we tried those a couple weeks ago. They were good.
They were good.
They were
Peerless.
good.
We knew
I
this
think
time was
Peerless
coming.
has some
right?
10-year
The
old.
Big Six had to be at least
Yeah.
a little bit
Right.
knowing that their market was going to go down.
Feeling
a
the
little bit
pressure.
because
Yeah.
we're finally getting to the point where all these craft distillers they're coming of age.
Yeah, the
Well, and that's
stock's
the thing,
coming
we
level.
talk with Moondrops about that a little bit too. It's like they're only a couple years in, and the goal for all these people, any small business, is you got to get to that 5-year mark. And for them, it's even more important because their product's going to finally have
No
that
doubt.
age on it to actually see what they really are creating.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think we're getting into that world now where most of these distillers have been around for a while, and they're starting to pump out some really great stuff. Yeah. And we're doing a pick with Starlight here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Double oaked, right?
I think so.
I think it's a double oak.
Yeah.
Call us when you're down there. We live
Like
8
10 minutes away.
Hell yeah.
Oh, cool.
from
Yeah.
Starlight.
Nice.
Like I'm literally down the road.
Well, maybe
Okay,
we
cool.
come have lunch with you guys or something.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or come to Starlight, eat lunch with us.
Yeah.
Let us know when you're doing your pick.
Yeah.
Their lunch is
It's the
great. I'll
15th.
talk to you after.
Yeah,
that.
heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
So-
another benefit. Military guy had passed away. So it's another pick
It's
to
a-
benefit the
Yeah,
family.
charity.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Charity auction.
They're
so.
really good at that too.
they are.
Yeah, they do
charity
a lot of
picks
charity
and-
too. So
yeah.
That's what another
we try
thing
to
with
do
and I know the big six do it some too, but the small distilleries, they're going to jump on that immediately. Because again, they're family, and they
How can we help?
how
Right.
can we help? Exactly. Yeah.
I
So
know
there
that-
is one bit of news on the cigar side, which actually is going to affect everything in our country, and I wanted to talk about that because this is actually very huge.
Smoking in the house.
The first time in last 30 years, the Supreme Court's done something great. So they overturned the Chevron deference, whatever that thing was called. Basically, what that was let me find it here. It's Chevron versus Natural Resources Defense Council. And in '84, they ruled because they didn't have any actual data to be able to say, we're going to fight Chevron. So what they did was they said government officials are going to be in charge of coming up with the information to fight against these things. Think of FDA. FDA gets in shit. They have no idea what they're doing. Yeah. Damn, I got to breathe here.
Rob forgot his lungs.
I did. forget my
FDA
word.
that gets most of its funding from the pharmaceutical companies.
Yes.
Yes,
Need to
yes.
be heavily involved in this.
So
of course.
one big thing in the cigar industry, FDA keeps on coming out trying to ban cigars. They don't understand the difference between cigars and vaping and cigarettes and all that. So they're trying to lump it all together. Well, this ruling has said no longer can FDA come out and pick government officials to create these rules because they have no idea. So they have to actually go to people within those industries and find the actual real information.
Have actual data.
Actual data.
No way.
And the cool thing is, yes, this is going to help the cigar industry tremendously. It's also going to help pretty much
Separation.
everything else in America going forward. FDA can't just say, oh, that's bad for you. We think it's bad for you, so you can't have it anymore. They can't do it anymore. So as long as that thing holds, which it should, then it's going to change. It's going to change everything. I mean, it's going to change the whiskey world. It's going to change everything.
Yeah, good.
It's like, finally.
So that's at the federal level.
It's a federal level.
Yeah. So sorry for all of you in the socialist state of California.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck.
You mean an
does.
administrative agency is not going to be able to create law?
Isn't that crazy? I know.
How long has it taken for us to get to that point where they're finally going
40
okay.
years.
Yes,
It's crazy.
it's been forever.
And
So
you want to
big
talk
fan.
shout
about
out to the
regulation.
Supreme Court finally doing something
That's
good.
great.
And they've actually been on the side of the cigar industry for a little while, but they kept getting pushed back until this ruling got changed.
Let's get
And now
AOC on the
We're finally
podcast.
there.
Let's
There you
not.
I mean, there are certain benefits to that.
No, we don't talk politics.
Hey, look. The thing is, these
Sometimes we
politicians
do.
are.
I was going back
the
to your
politicians
tattoo.
are so actually scared to make decisions that they'll have to be held accountable for. That they want to pass the buck, and then they can say, "Oh, the agency did it," right?
Right.
And it's like, no, this is supposed. You can't say we're going to put in law to have an agency that will then make laws. That,
Yeah.
that doesn't fly.
It's like hiring someone to hire somebody.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
every
it's,
fucking university ever.
Mm-hmm.
They like hire an agency to hire a coach. Like,
don't get me started.
We're going to pay a
but just-
consultant $200,000 to tell us which coach we should hire.
But just keep re-electing me so I can
yeah.
appoint
tell you
someone
who
do
to
that.
appoint
Yeah.
to
Right.
appoint the person
Right,
who does the
right.
appointing.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
can tank a team. Like, if you want to pay me $1 million a year to do that, I can fuck your school up
Oh, yeah.
in 6 to 8
mean,
weeks.
If you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I can do that. I've got spare time.
with or without a shirt on. It's up to
Exactly.
you. May cost a little extra, but
All in a
George
cup.
Costanza style. Always take your shirt
All
off.
in a
always take a shirt off. This is I know it's a cigar podcast as well. This is a great cigar. I love
Good,
this cigar.
good.
That's awesome. Full bodied and easy smoking.
I
So
will say
you
it's
are a
great.
cigar
Yeah.
smoker. So how into the cigars are you? Can you pick out flavor profiles from the cigar? Can you tell a difference between the thirds? Like,
No.
okay, that's fine.
I know that I enjoy smoking a cigar. I know when I have a cigar that I like, and I know when I have a cigar that I don't like. And that's the extent of mine.
It's the Chris Gordon effect.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris.
I can only have one vice. Well, I have many vices, but it's good. Yeah, that's how I kind of approach my cigars, and I like it very much like my bourbon. Like I get in the moods for bourbon. Like that's why I have so many bottles open, because I'm not in this. There are some days where I'm not in the mood for a Peerless. Like
Sure. Yeah.
I don't need that.
Right.
Maybe I want something a little sweeter or lighter, or I'll make a Kentucky Mule or something. That's how I am with cigars. Sometimes I want a quick, easy, sweet
Shut up.
smoke.
That's
and
what I was drinking last night.
Mules.
You said
Kentucky
gross.
Mules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was
are my
that or
jam.
drinking the garbage pail of fruity shit
I
that
was to say I was doing
all the daughters were
double
drinking.
bullets and
Yeah.
and Coke.
Ginger beer and bourbon is
I,
like
I love
it's so
the,
good
the
together.
perfect bourbon
ginger
delivery.
ale,
Yeah,
but
you
I
have
do
to
not
try
like
it.
mules.
So
I
we
don't
did
like
the
ginger
barrel
beer for
picks
some reason.
with Alan Bishop before he left Spirits of French Lick. We did 2 barrel picks of his hazmat brandies, and a brandy mule will change your life.
So good.
I love everything.
So good.
We had
He
Especially
loves
at
everything.
148.
Just
I
put a
love
period after
everything.
that.
It's good. No, the Spirits of French Lick stuff, like anything that has Alan Bishop's name on it, I'm
Yeah.
like, I guarantee you I'm going to like that, because I guarantee you that's going to be
Have you seen it?
Freaking
What he's doing? You know where he's at now,
Yeah,
right?
Patoka.
Speaking
Yeah,
of,
Yeah.
Patoka,
Yeah.
Old Homestead.
Yep.
yeah.
He's got his first mashes going through.
Yeah.
I've been watching.
And,
Sunshine.
we're going down there here. Hopefully the next
Hopefully
next
next
month or
couple
two.
of weeks. Yeah, would be
And we're
great.
gonna go down there and do a podcast with him and talk about it. And we're
we had him on
excited.
a month or so ago to talk about the transition from French Lick to Old Homestead, and he was like a kid in a candy store.
Oh
man.
yeah.
Like,
He's so
free
happy.
range ownership. Like,
You've left me to my own devices.
Right,
you
yeah.
fools.
Yes.
so he got to build all this stuff with his dad. Like, how fucking cool is
That's
that?
awesome.
Like, my
Speaking of
dad
Alan
drinks like
Bishop.
Starlight wine like once a year. So like, we have no relation to anything that I do. So like, that's super cool to be able to like do
Yeah.
distillation and
no
like build
doubt.
all your shit out with your dad. So
Speaking of Alan Bishop, we did a interview recently with Ken Schreiner with AJ Schreiner, which I think you may be
yeah.
talking to
we've
him here
been in
soon.
touch.
Alan Bishop has been doing some work for him on revitalizing some of those old,
Really cool story. The Shriners he was before there was the term master distiller, he ran, what was the distillery?
Shenley's.
Shenley's.
And
Like he was in charge of all the Shenley distilleries, like in the 30s and 40s.
Before Prohibition,
Before Prohibition and then after. And they have these notebooks of his, which is all the mash bills and all the distilling process.
And they're just recreating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all pre-Prohibition stuff, which is kind of Alan Bishop's whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting for us because it's like, good, one more of that style. And if you've had Alan Bishop stuff, you know that is absolutely a style. Like the pre-Prohibition stuff is.
that's
it's
dusty,
gonna be great.
Dusty flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Some
new.
of that action.
Yeah,
New.
he's putting out a
Yeah.
gin
New
too.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
the
that
new old riff.
It's that it's that old new riff. You know, like they're taking their distillate now and turning it into that same mash of like the dusty flavors that is coming from, you know, stuff from way early on, which is gonna be amazing. I mean, it's gonna be crazy.
It's a whole new flavor and taste and nose profile separate from anything else. And that's, you know, I don't want to say sorely needed, but it for people like us that there's only so many ways you can take so many mash bills and put them in so many barrels. And you know, everything starts to taste somewhat familiar after a while.
Right.
To have something new and exciting, be like, heck yeah.
Well, if you guys haven't had them on yet, you need to get up to Whiskey Acres, up over in DeKalb, Illinois, and they're making a lot of great stuff right now.
We just did an episode.
That was the samples.
Yeah, one of
Gotcha.
our viewers sent us some samples. Was that the
That was the Bloody Butcher
Bloody
that
Butcher?
you
Yeah.
liked. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
their Bloody
Yeah,
Butcher.
absolutely.
The cool thing that Whiskey Acres is doing, which hopefully will be around in the next year or two, they have a hybrid corn that they have propagated themselves. They went to Italy and got like 1.5 pounds
Something
of
like that,
like corn that they use for polenta. It was like the last 1.5 pounds in existence.
Really?
And then they went to Minnesota and bought a male strain, and they crossbred it to propagate this hybrid grain, and it's fucking phenomenal.
We tried the White Dog.
Yeah, we
coming
tried
off
the White
still,
Dog,
and it
yeah.
was some of the best White Dog I think
Amazing.
I've ever tasted.
Really?
It's Italian, bro.
Yeah, it's Italian.
Italian.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Italian.
get over to
So-
DeKalb.
The cow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they'll do the same thing. They'll treat you up, man. You know, when we went there, like, you know, you get the tour, you get the taste, and you get the works. Like, the coolest thing about them is, like, you go to any distillery, you walk through a rick house, it's a rick house. It's a wood building, metal building, brick, whatever. You know, you go there, it's grain silos.
Yeah,
Super cool.
all the barrels
So,
and
like,
silos.
you
Really?
pass it on the street, and you're like, this isn't a distillery. There's no fucking way.
Yeah,
It's because it's all grain
That's
silos.
cool.
They repurpose grain silos and hangers from World
great
War
idea.
II.
That's freaking
How
awesome.
can you not be romantic
Yeah.
about bourbon?
yeah.
Dude.
There you go.
Catchphrase.
There's
not
another
yeah,
button.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's very cool too because you go up there and you talk to them, and you're going to talk to the guys that are distilling. You're also going to talk to the guy that's in charge of the farm, and it's a great episode for if you need some educational content. They will educate you on
Cool.
the farming process and everything, and it's actually a very cool episode that we did.
It's the only place that has a master farmer and a master distiller.
When
in the
we
country.
did they sent us, our viewers occasionally will send us samples, and we're like, you know, we need to drink them, but we also need to make content out of it. And how do we do that? So I was like, well, we've got 3 of these Whiskey Acres, and then we started diving into it. We're like, holy crap, this is cool as
And
shit.
didn't I
Yeah.
say? I said so. I don't remember which sample we were tasting from Whiskey Acres, but I was talking to Charlie. I was like, when you drive through Illinois, like if you're taking a road trip to Chicago or something, it's just field after field of corn,
Never
and
ending.
And I said, that is exactly what this tastes like. It's
Yeah.
just, it tastes like
Farm
grain.
country.
It
Yeah.
tastes like a farm, you know.
And they're one of their credos. They have 3, but one of them is seed to spirit, because they propagate their own seeds. So
Yeah.
like, you know, they said anybody can do grain to glass.
Yeah.
You know, most people source their grains. Like, you know, even the Heaven Hill grain to glass still source grain.
Right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a Beck's grain. It's a little different that way.
Yeah,
You know, anybody
We
can go
use certain
pick up
farmers.
a sack of grain, like, you know, but it, you know, seed to spirit is their motto, because they are propagating their own seeds for their distillation.
Well, and that was a nice turn that I think we all took this year, or maybe last year, was you know, a lot of people when they taste grain in a bourbon, they immediately think, oh, this is a young bourbon. And what's cool is you got people like Alan Bishop and you got people like Whiskey Acres that they're going, no, we want to highlight the grain. That is what we're doing, and we want you to taste that grain. And people are starting to realize, oh, okay, it's good to taste grain in your whiskey.
I can like that.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
because you've been hammered to be like, oh, you can't taste, oh, it's corny.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I can
Young.
really
Yeah.
taste
You
it.
should only be tasting caramel.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, so-
Caramel and oak and
Yeah.
maybe a little sugar.
Which I think there's a distinct difference between tasting a whiskey that tastes just way too young,
Exactly.
you know,
There
and,
is.
You can
And
tell
taste
to
it
when
being
when
it's-
able to
Right.
taste
when
and
it lacks
appreciate the
maturity.
grain. Yeah.
Versus that grain forward, it does make me wonder, and it'd be a question to ask Alan or ask the guys from Whiskey Acres: is are they distilling to a lower proof to pull more of the
Grain flavor.
grain elements out?
It's a good question.
Well,
Yeah.
Whiskey Acres too is primarily weeded on most of their mashes, so I think that definitely plays a factor into it.
Probably helps
with the
That-
lower.
But I
proof.
mean, you look at Alan Bishop, and I mean, some of the stuff he's putting in barrels is up at 130, 140 proof
right?
before it goes in the barrel. So I mean, he's still pulling all that grain flavor
Which is
into
amazing.
it. So I mean, you may be right on a lot of
With
those too, but-
self-sourced yeast,
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
he's just like out in the field,
Man,
just like
I love that about Alan, man. He'll have those little videos out there. He's like, yeah, I'm out here in the middle of the field. I'm just getting some yeast out of here, natural yeast. I'm gonna do some kind of distillate with it. I'm like, that's amazing. I love seeing that craft behind him. He's an alchemist. That's what he does. He calls himself that, and that's exactly what he is.
A
So
freaking whiskey wizard.
he
Yeah.
is,
Yeah,
man.
love it.
He's
Hey,
awesome.
Charlie, I will say, I think that this cigar really paired nicely with that toasted.
I agree.
I think that's as I was going back and forth after you made the comment, because I've smoked this so many times because I love this cigar, but I really think, you know, the term cigar batch gets way overused in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they don't even have people smoking cigars to see if it's a cigar batch or not. They just, oh, we're going to throw it in amber on it, and now we'll call it cigar batch, right?
Yeah.
Brown label, cigar batch.
That's it. Yeah. But this toasted really, really just goes perfectly with this cigar, and it really did bring out a lot of nuanced flavors.
I was
said I wasn't
getting
gonna
ready
do
to
tasting
agree
notes,
with you.
but-
Then I remembered I'm smoking something different.
yeah.
so. Let's get to this pursuit.
Yeah, let's
what
get to
do
the
we have
pursuit.
there?
Charlie?
Put your glasses
that
on,
way.
Glenn.
Yeah.
Go that way.
No,
Go
it's
that
your
way.
turn, Charlie.
Oh gosh. So Glenn picked this up on location at Pursuit. This is a 7-year. Is this a single barrel, Glenn?
It's a single
single
barrel.
from. This is Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee Distilling Company in
Tennessee.
Columbia, Tennessee.
Yep. So this is not Dickel.
Not
and
Dickel.
the show notes on this are "Hello Darkness, my old friend.
Oh
I've
yeah.
come to drink with you again."
So
I love it.
we stopped at Pursuit. A friend of mine's kind of struck up a little relationship with those guys, and he'll just stop in. Sometimes he'll help them bottle or whatever. And we stopped in one day, and they had their new double oak, which everyone's going freaking ape shit over. And I tried the double oak, and I tried this, and I was like, I want this. At least that day, anyway.
Compared to the
For
double
whatever
oak.
reason. Now you all may try it and be like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" But
So
I thought this was a little bit more interesting than. Whoa, that's a heavy pour.
tell us a little bit about Pursuit.
Hey.
That's why I always let Charlie pour.
It's 1:00 now, buddy. It's all good.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to revisit this one.
Tell us about Pursuit. What do you know about the Pursuit?
So the Pursuit
Spirits.
guys started doing this. Like they started doing.
Well, they started with I don't know what came first, the podcast or the.
I'm pretty sure the podcast.
It was
Yeah,
the
the
podcast.
podcast came
The
first, I
Pursuit
believe.
Spirits podcast, and that grew and grew, and then they started started sourcing barrels and have a warehouse over in Louisville, and
Yeah, like Butchertown.
Yep. And they put out some great stuff, and those are, I feel like the people that, there's always this negative connotation about like, oh, well, they're an NDP, they're a non-distilling producer. And there's a lot of non-distilling producers that don't put out great stuff. Like, I'm not defending all of them, but Pursuit, and then Old Louisville Whiskey Company in Louisville, obviously, you can get a great experience at places like that you don't get necessarily unless you're a Fred Minnick at the Big Six, or even a craft distillery, places you can go in and be like, I want to drink straight from the bottle. Whiskey thief me some stuff out. Let me taste it. Okay, I want a bottle of that. Pump it out. Put it in a bottle. Put your label on it. I'm excited to revisit. I haven't had this one.
The nose is, oh my God.
And look
I
at the
haven't
color.
had it.
Look at the color.
It's so dark.
Yeah.
Hello,
like
darkness.
A lot of cherry on the nose.
A lot of cherry on the nose.
Oh, my
A lot
God.
of
Also
dark
getting that
fruit.
brown
Which is
sugar in
cherry's
there.
one of my favorite notes. Cherry and like a
116
chocolate covered
proof.
cherry.
Nice.
We're definitely getting into the cherry season. I was at the grocery store yesterday. I had to put together a charcuterie board for my
Oh,
daughter's pool afternoon for 21st. That's why we were out, drinking. But I put cherries on it because they were on sale at the grocery, because you know how it is when they come in. There's tons of them. And I got to say, going back and having like some fresh cherries and then drinking bourbon,
Yeah.
it's so great, because you get reminded of like some of those fruit flavors that you then find when you're drinking bourbon.
Absolutely.
that
all think?
nose
Wild.
translates right to the
It
palate.
It does.
It is just as good
It
as I
does.
remember
It's
it.
exactly the same nose and the palate go right together.
And this is one of the
nice.
things that that is the double-edged sword for us, is when we film in my basement, and when Glenn brings bottles, he always finds these hellacious awesome bottles, and then he brings them, and I get to taste them and be like, this is amazing. And then he takes them home with him.
Oh, bummer.
So this is the first time I've had this since we did the episode, and it's fun to revisit, and I'm like, yep, I stand by what I said. in that
It's
This is
episode.
definitely
that-
got a lot of high fruit notes in
This
it.
is that
Definite.
cordial cherry
Yes.
flavor.
Some
I
of
don't
the
go-
kind of
go
tropical
chor-
fruits
I don't
come
go as
through
much
as well.
cordial. I go more in the fresh
Sweet.
cherry. The,
Okay.
Yeah.
The deeper, darker,
There's a
black
lot of
cherry
dark
kind of
fruit,
notes. Yeah.
dark fruit in there. And then I thought, the reason I brought this, because I thought it would really stand up to the cigar.
Oh, this is
Absolutely.
actually going
And it does.
great with that cigar.
With the Maduro, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
And because it's Tennessee, I think people think Tennessee and they think Dickel.
I automatically thought
for good,
Dickel.
bad, or
Yeah.
indifferent. But Tennessee is just like, there are other distilleries in Tennessee, just like in Indiana. And
See
we
you
were
guys.
talking about this going back to Indiana. It used to be when you see distilled in Indiana, oh, that's MGP.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And you can't say that anymore.
No.
And
no.
that's awesome.
Right.
And this, I actually had
Nothing
my-
against MGP, because they make great stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I
it's,
love
it's
MGP.
great to
love
see
MGP,
other,
but
other
it is cool
producers.
now. And if you're not, people don't drink enough, and that's a catchphrase. People,
I
not
don't
you.
think you understand how much I
What
drink.
country do you live in?
No, the people getting into bourbon, they often get hyper focused. They find something that they like. That's what they stay, and they stay in that flavor profile. And it drives me crazy when you will have people that, start getting into bourbon and they taste stuff and they're really critical of things. And oh, I don't like that. It's medicinal, or I don't like this. And like, you don't like bourbon. You like that bourbon. You like that mash bill. You like that distillery. You got to get out there and you got to try some stuff and get out of your comfort zone, because there's a big wide world. And, we talk about the whiskey boom, and people talk about, how great everything, bourbon used to be better. To hell with that.
No.
Like
Yeah,
there's
there's awesome
some
stuff coming out.
hellacious stuff out there
Yeah.
in all flavor profiles. And this is one of them. This is if you blinded people with this one, this is one of those Pepsi challenge bottles. Like,
Oh, yeah.
this will hold up against anything
100%.
you pour,
Yeah.
allocated or otherwise. This
We
is
tell people all the time, go try stuff.
Yeah.
Try
Right?
stuff.
Don't go hunt. It's go try.
What's
new
the
stuff.
price point on this bottle?
Oh, geez. What did I pay for that? I want to say in the
I was gonna
$60
say-
to $80
yeah, I was gonna
range,
say about
maybe
80, I
70.
All
think
day
was
long.
Any
most
day.
of their stuff.
Yeah,
Any
that
day.
Twice
wouldn't
on
be a
Sundays.
problem.
Well,
at
it's
all.
like, we talk about, everybody has their like daily sippers. It's like there's certain bottles, they're cheaper bottles. I don't want to think about it. I just want to have a good drink. Mine, I think that's yours too. the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, now especially that it's under $40 a bottle around here.
Yeah.
That's a slam dunk
So
every day.
So you're talking. You're. So this guy right here, his favorite bottle ever in the history of the world
Of all time.
is Heaven Hill 6-year bottled and bond, which you can't buy anymore.
Yeah,
No.
before they switched to 7.
So you like it better than the
Oh,
7?
And I agree.
Huh.
We've
Interesting.
compared them side by side, and it's I agree with him. I don't think there's any comparison.
The
See, I
Heaven Hill,
like 8. I like 7 better. I mean, I did love 6. 6 was great. I still have about 3/4 of a bottle of 6 at home.
I've got 2 cases left.
Oh shit.
That is, and it's just for me. And I always tell people this when they look at me, because everybody has that same reaction, like, that's your favorite bottle of all time. I'm like, hell's yeah, because it was only available in Kentucky, and at one point at Total Wine, it was $7.
Exactly.
It was $7
Now-
American dollars. It was
Now for that,
$7.99.
you're exactly right. You're
And
exactly
I didn't feel
right.
any sort of way about it. And I could make a Kentucky Mule, or I could just drink it neat, and it's perfect, and it's flavorful, and it holds up, and it's just perfect bourbon deliciousness.
So what's your thoughts on JTS Brown? Or
Love JTS Brown.
Love it.
again,
Yeah.
a $15 bottle, if you can get it for that, it holds up. It's awesome in cocktails.
My
Amazing
fear for
cocktails.
JTS Brown is the last of it's not going to be around forever.
You're right.
Is my fear, and it's a $15 bottle. When you can find it, you can still get a 1.75 for $25 of it, and it's great. It's a great
is.
bottle, and you don't feel any sort of way. Like, to your point, you have to have a bottle that you can just be like, fudge it. Like, I'm going to drink. I'm going to make cocktails for everybody and have a bunch of Kentucky Mules in this, that, and the other. And those are great bottles. And we used to have those. There used to be a bottom shelf of really good bourbons, sometimes great bourbons. And
Old Granddad 114.
Old Granddad 114.
Yeah,
gotta keep that
on the shelf.
Bottled and
another
Bond.
one of my favorites.
Benchmark foolproof. Man.
Yeah.
And we had a rye the other day that I picked up when we
Old
were doing,
Overholt.
Yeah, old
Ooh, the
Overholt.
Overholt, yeah.
Yep.
114.
Great bottle. Yeah. So those are fun too, because they can't all be $80 bottles. And up,
No, no.
and
Well, they
it's-
can't.
They can't
You can.
for a while.
Well, that was my problem with Bardstown when they first, when they
Yeah.
came to market originally,
Price
like
prohibitive.
130 for like
Right.
their first release. Like, that shit is wild.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy was that? And then they came out with the Discovery series, which was like $59, $60. So like, there's other stuff now,
It's
but
really
like,
good.
it
I mean,
It is.
it
really
is.
good.
But to the
but at
person that
$150 a bottle.
to the person
better
that
be.
wants to try something, like, I'm not going to go to the store and buy a bottle for the very first time for $160. I'm just not going to do
Right.
it.
Have you had the Founders Kentucky KBS Stout Bardstown?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you think about it? That's
I mean, it was
I wanted more stout.
yeah. I
Did
wanted a little more punch on it.
Yeah.
It kind of lacked towards the finish.
It was
the
good.
palate was good,
yeah.
but
Again, it was
I
pricey.
right yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
expected a
pricey, for
longer
real.
finish on it because of that stout name on it.
Well,
So-
and Bardstown actually is kind of doing the similar thing as like Barrel. Obviously, they're different animals, but they've decided to bring their price points down.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be, especially for someone like them, it's going to be very good because, again, most people aren't going to go out and just drop $160 without trying it.
Right.
And I think when they drop that down to that $100 range, all of a sudden people are going, oh, I'll give it a shot. And a lot of
Right.
those releases are coming out at like $80 now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, now we get a chance to try stuff and people will get into that bourbon. And obviously BBC is making a lot of shit for other people now too.
Yeah.
So people are
Whiskey
starting
House?
to know that profile a little bit more too.
You saw that? The Whiskey House? That's their new thing. So BBC's going to start doing distillation. I mean, they already contract distill, right?
Right.
But they're building a facility, I think, for sales that is like an MGP style facility. And that's going to be their contract
Okay.
distillation area. Is the
Interesting.
Whiskey House. You have to look that up. Yeah,
I
we talked
will.
about that a
I
couple
think
weeks
I
ago.
remember seeing something
Huge,
about that.
like a
yeah, a couple months
$100
ago.
million facility
Yeah.
or something, like state of the art. It's going to be automated, like ridiculous.
Well, we're in that boat right now too, where for years said, like you said, it's distilled in Indiana. Everyone knows it's MGP. That was almost a bad word for a
yeah.
long time. It's like, oh, another MGP.
Oh yeah.
But again, they make great bourbon. And I think BBC's in the same boat right now. They're in that process where it's distilled in Kentucky. Oh, it's probably BBC juice. People are saying it that way. I'm like, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
BBC
not a
or
bad
Barton.
Green River is
Or
doing
Barton,
a lot.
exactly, yeah.
Barton. Like,
Speaking of Green River, they're putting out some
oh my
phenomenal
Good
God.
stuff.
Yeah, and
that
again,
rye
when
is
they
like
first
40
come out,
bucks.
it's like $35 for
Yeah.
a bottle. It's
I
like,
had a
that's
John
killer.
O's store pick of the Green River barrel proof
Bourbon.
Oh my god, so
Yeah.
good! And
Yeah.
then we just did an episode. We compared that to
Their
the
new barrel proof.
barrel
their-
proof.
Is it
Oh,
barrel proof or
nice.
cast strength?
Cast strength,
Whatever they
barrel
call
proof,
it. Yeah.
whatever
For $50.
Yeah,
Phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
just absolutely phenomenal. But going back to that Pursuit,
yes,
the pepper is good for $50.
very
The
good.
Peerless, freaking solid.
Great. $120 for that bottle.
Yeah, for
probably,
the
right?
toasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A freaking Pursuit
Oh,
it's good stuff.
is,
It's
and
really,
that's
really good.
And what sucks? It's a single barrel, so
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
can't ever
I'm
get-
probably never gonna
it's
get another
hard
bottle
not
of
to
it.
be romantic about bourbon because
It
when that
is.
bottle's gone, you're never going to have that
And what's
again.
great is this is better today than I remember it being the
Yeah.
first time I tasted it, which it blew
Yeah.
me away.
Got some air in it.
Yeah.
And when
Let
we
it sit.
did the episode, I thought it's maybe not as great as I remembered, but now today I'm like, oh yeah, it's
Well, how
better.
I look
It's
at it is
better.
you had to follow, okay, Pursuit, I haven't had you in 5 months. I've had this awesome cigar and I've had Peerless.
And
good,
it still tastes
good luck.
yeah.
yeah.
And it's like, yep, this is the best thing I've had today.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
it's pretty
And the
solid.
cool thing is, all three of these bottles, totally unique. None of them are. It's like, oh yeah, that's bourbon. No, every one of them had totally different tasting profiles.
Yep.
And they've all went really great with the cigar.
Yeah, they paired
So,
really well.
And
Good
guess
job,
what?
Glenn.
None
Good
of
job.
these
Very
bottles
good.
cost over $100.
The
That
Peerless.
was what was
That's
that?
120 retail.
Peerless,
Yeah.
Okay.
Retail's
You
120.
stood in
I
line for
stand
that.
corrected.
Corky signed that.
I stand corrected.
But that is a distillery only release.
And most
But
of
I
their
do feel-
distillery only releases are
in
about
that
110,
100.
125.
They gotta
And
make
that's
their
the
money
thing.
somewhere.
Peerless is one of those. I would say it's not your typical brand for someone that's getting into whiskey,
No.
because they're not going to drop that kind of money on it.
No.
But once they discover it and their palate starts, getting better and they start enjoying higher proof stuff, it's hard not to have at least a bottle or two on your bar every
Yeah,
time.
you got to find a
Yeah.
friend that's got a bunch of those and then just try it.
That's a big
And then
boy.
you'll
Yeah.
understand.
Eric
That's a-
Jensen.
Eric James.
That's Peerless's big boy bourbon. Like,
Yeah.
that's it's going to take you on a ride, and
Oh, for sure.
you may
Yeah.
or may not like the ride you're going on.
Oh,
So
please.
But I am with you, man. That Pursuit is absolutely freaking delicious.
yeah, it's if you guys haven't been to, and we'll put you in touch with them, Amin at Old Louisville.
I've not been there yet. Yes,
Great
please
guy.
give me his
Gotta get down.
contact.
All right, we should get
It's literally I don't want to use the word dilapidated. It's not dilapidated, but it's just this warehouse off Preston
Eclectic.
Highway,
Like in the most
in
industrial part.
the most
of
industrial
Louisville.
part of Louisville, and he does exactly what Pursuit does, just on a smaller scale, I would guess. But he'll take you through, pull a bunch of stuff. He sources bourbon from all over. He has brokers. He's big on double oaks and finishing, and has some hellacious stuff. And it's just a great experience because he's passionate about it, and he knows every mash bill and how old it is, and the stuff that he has. When you go, we were there a year ago, and then you go back and you get to taste the same stuff again. It's like, God, it's better than it was last
Yeah.
time.
The dude, he's got an engineering background, right? So there's no one who's going to come in there and talk with
Yeah.
any
You're not
more
gonna-
authority on blending and the chemical makeup and how to age and everything more than he is. But he's so down to earth. He's so cool. He's so hospitable.
Yep.
You come in there. I mean, we went there. It's back in our first year that we started
Yeah.
our podcast. We didn't have that many viewers at all. We came in there, and how many hours did we spend there?
A long time.
A couple hours. We did our normal thing. We were packing up, ready to leave. We're putting all our gear in the car, and he comes back out, and he's like, "Hey, y'all want to come back in?" We're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's like,
And then-
here's our 17-year hazmat.
yeah."
yeah.
That's the last thing I
Okay.
remember that night.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And he gives that experience
Yeah.
to most people. Like, and it's just a fun, it's not people think that you have to have those, like, oh, if I'm going on a distillery tour, I have to pull
origin
into the
story.
oak lined, driveways and hear about grandpappy's recipes and this, that, and the other. And yeah, that's fun and it has its place, but part of it is just like, I want to drink some hellacious good stuff.
Yeah.
And so we were there the night Bruzel, Glenn's best friend, filmed there. You know, he was drinking everybody through everything, and he had a 7 year, 7 months. It was an MGP high rye that he finished in another oak barrel, so it was a double oaked, and it was $100. It's the cheapest thing he has because his stuff, I mean, he's got to make a living. It's premium stuff.
Yep.
And $100, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, how many? I was like, I want a bottle of that. Pumps it right out of the barrel.
He
right
did
into,
not bring with him today.
well, that's because they would have drank it. Only have one. Pumps it right into the bottle, puts the label on it. You know, it's all handwritten and everything, puts it in a black velvet bag, and you take it home with you. And it's just the most fun.
That's cool.
It's cool.
So I highly recommend, and I'll put you guys in touch with him. It's a great experience.
But you're exactly right, man. Going to the Big Six or whatever and doing a tour is great. It's fun. It's fun to hear the history, all that stuff. But going to some of these smaller distilleries, they're as excited about bourbon as you are.
No doubt.
And to have them
have you
and
there.
to share it. Yeah.
And to share it and to tell the stories of what, this is an accident and it turned out to be great and we create it every time now. Stuff like that is like, it's so much fun to see someone love their craft as much as we love, consuming it. So,
Well, and to hear some of the stories, like the first time we were there with Amin, he was telling us about these barrels that he bought, and by the time he got them, they were empty. He was like, well, that happens, like it was a bad barrel or whatever the
Leaked or
cooperage or
evaporated
whatever.
off. Yeah.
yeah.
He paid all this money for this barrel, and it turned out to be empty.
Like, oh, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, and you don't think about those types of things. You don't hear those kind of stories at your major distillers, right?
Not on purpose.
And for a major distillery, that's just okay. One more empty barrel, but
yeah,
that could be a big deal for a small producer.
It's a lot of money lost. Yeah, absolutely. So, Mike, I did see a note on the list here of a bar fight you got into.
my passive aggressive bar fight.
Yeah.
So this came up last night.
Hey, you're dropping shit today.
What a dipshit.
Nice.
There you go.
Oh God, what was it? Oh, it was because of Lydia, the titty money lady.
Sweaty titty money lady.
The sweaty titty money lady.
Lydia. It sounds like a 90s band.
Oh, so the musicians
Hair
were
band.
just ragging her all night, and it was fucking hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Oh my God, it was so funny. Which brought up my thought on my passive aggressive bar fight several years ago. We used to go to a place in Louisville. It was called Wayland's Whiskey or Wayland's Feed and Firewater.
Never heard of that.
Have you heard of God, what's the place downtown? Yeah. Oh my God. It's Merrill's Whiskey Kitchen.
Yeah.
In downtown
Merrill's.
across.
Merrill's.
Yeah. Merrill's. So the guy that owns that used to own this place in St. Matt's. It was called Wayland's Feed and Firewater.
I think
right
I
on
do.
Shelbyville Road.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah. So he owned that place. He sold it to a Hispanic family that opened Havana Rumba or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But we used to go there every Wednesday after we went bowling. And every Wednesday they would do the Whiskey Wheel Wednesday. So you spin it and you get all this stuff and old Pogues on there, Taylor, Weller, all this stuff. So we always do the Whiskey Wheel Wednesday. And I had done my spin. I ended up with some old Pogue, which was, $5 for a pour on the wheel, which was, like a $20 pour at the time. Yeah. So we did that. And after I got my first pour, I decided that I was going to try something different. And this guy that was 2 seats down, he kept chirping at us, trying to get it. He was like, "You guys don't know whiskey. It's probably fucking Jim Beam." I was like, "You fucking asshole." It's it's not no, I'm getting some Pogue. Let me get another pour of Pogue. This dickbag bought me a pour of Jim Beam apple. He was like, "I heard you wouldn't drink it, you puss." I was like, "You're fucking right. I'm not going to drink that because it's terrible." I was like, "I'm not going to drink that at all." He was like, "You're a pussy." I was like, "That's all you drink is Jim Beam apple, isn't it?" He was like, "I love Jim Beam apple." He was like, "This is for you, bud." So we were just sitting there yelling at each other for no fucking reason at all about who's going to take this shot at Jim Beam apple. And we're with my buddy Sean that Rob met Sean, our hippie Sean.
Worst fight ever.
It was the worst fight ever. And so Sean was like, "Fuck it, free shot, I'll take it." and just like shot it. And I was like, see, there you go. You feel good about yourself?
You feel good, big man?
Somebody drank your Jim Beam apple. Did you put your big paper pants on?
That reminds me of the episode we recently did on Fireball Small Batch.
First of all,
jeez.
The
quality products.
the Dragon's Reserve?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we did one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we ended with it.
Yeah.
Everything was sticky after that 45 seconds.
I was not here for that episode.
No, you weren't. But
Thank God.
I was
You
so
missed out.
disappointed.
everyone
Wow, that was
loved
terrible.
to point out that
Oh.
as much as we talk shit about that, like the bottle was
wasn't
almost
that-
gone.
It
Like
wasn't
at the
that
end
bad.
of it.
It really wasn't bad.
It's just Fireball.
It's
like it tastes like
Fireball.
Speaking
nothing.
of that, when you go to Hard Truth, try their cinnamon.
Their
whiskey.
cinnamon.
Yeah.
We did.
That's really good.
Well,
I
West
mean,
Fork
for
has
what
the
it
cinnamon,
is,
too.
for what it is.
it is, you're right.
Your story reminds me of why I don't leave my house. I just stay in my basement and I don't interact with the general population.
Yeah, so
I tell my wife that all the time.
we first started this. We started doing bars around town. So if someone had like a interesting bar, or they had a great bottle they wanted to share, we go to their house and film, which was great. And
Ish.
I struggled to get Charlie out of his basement.
The problem with going out in public is you go out and the public has the nerve to be there.
Yeah. How dare them?
When he says the public,
it.
he means the person who owns the house of
Right.
the basement that you're sitting in.
I said what I said.
Yeah.
No,
Sounds like a story.
Yeah. No, it was
I'm
fun
shocked that he came up here and sat down with you guys.
because we didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to prepare any notes. And like, hey, do you want to go smoke cigars and drink bourbon? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, wait. Prepare notes? Huh.
That's my job.
Novel
Yeah.
concept, huh?
Get yourself a producer.
I have
changes
one. It's called
everything.
Glenn. Glenn does
I think
everything.
me and Mike can kind of empathize with each other here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk.
I walk in and I'm like, the podcast starts and I go, what are we talking about today? As I pick up my phone and look at my
Yeah.
notes. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Okay, cool.
I know what I am. I'm handsome and I'm charismatic. And that's what I'm.
And humble. And very
Totally
humble.
humble.
I try to say it with a straight face. No, Glenn does all our work. He does all the editing. He does all the equipment, everything. Like there is no Glenn is SoIn2Bourbon. I'm just an idiot who occasionally drinks.
But
More
honestly,
than
I
okay.
do think
You need that.
if you watch our channel, like I couldn't do this by myself. No one wants to sit here and listen to my boring ass talk about it.
Yeah.
And
That would be a great episode.
but I'm the one who kind of keeps us on track or whatever, and Charlie's the one he's better at off the cuff, filling in bullshit talk.
He's the
here and
color
there.
analyst.
Yeah.
Well, that's what changed with us too. Like when we all came on in February this year, that was kind of the turning point. Was like, before it was like purely educational. It was just Rob and Isaiah and the occasional guest.
Another review podcast.
Yeah, it was another review. Like so, but that was it. Like it was just another review podcast. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like those episodes got a lot of attention. That's
Right.
fine. But now we have 4 members. So like, we go longer. We go 2 hours. We go 2.5. Sometimes we go 3 hours. Whatever.
And we have a lot of guests.
We have a lot of
of
guests.
good
Yeah,
You have
the
do have
whole
a lot of good
the whole
guests.
summer. This whole summer, we have not had a time where we haven't had a guest. Really, I mean, hell, Father's Day, we had Scott's dad come out
Yeah.
and sit there. Who doesn't drink or smoke was drinking and smoking.
Drinking and smoking with us.
Love
It's like
It was awesome.
blowing cigars.
Yeah.
smoking
And we
his
actually
face.
got like a lot of really positive feedback.
That
on
was
that
a good one.
podcast. It
Yeah, that was a really
It
good
ended
one.
up being kind of like a newbie, and my dad asked questions that I hadn't even thought to ask.
Well, and that's why we talk about this. I was like, I think our greatest episode would be to have our wives on
yeah,
and have them, like, my wife does not drink bourbon at all, barely even drinks. But
My
I
wife
feel like
likes
that
White
would be
Claw.
great content,
yeah. We talked
yeah.
last night, and I still don't know if it's a good idea or not. But I said, hey, we should have my sisters on.
Oh, dude, that would be a crazy one.
Yeah,
Lydia?
not Lydia, not Lydia. Nope. But my sisters, they carry their own social media presence because they're owners, along with my mom, of a remodeling company. And so they go, into jobs that they're doing, and they're like, hey, take a look. We did all these things. And it's like they're definitely out there on social media to promote their business and give people ideas on how to, change their lives by changing their house. And it's that they're quite the characters, very good at doing the social media stuff. But
right.
yeah, if we have them on here, they're probably going to get super liquored up. And then
Oh, dude, love that idea.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you a
Love
tip.
that idea.
If you we try to do shorts and stuff, and I mean, me and Charlie, we're middle-aged guys. Like
Speak for
TikTok, that's a
yourself.
lot of young people.
29.
Oh yeah, but
In your
and
bra.
we try. I took my wife out to Bardstown Bourbon Company one day, and
This was
I took
humbling.
a little video of her trying.
Nosing.
They pulled a sample out of a barrel, and I had her try it, and it was like a 15-second video, and she's like making a face.
This is the
And it got,
video.
like,
She literally
6,000
she
views.
goes.
I was like, it was literally our most viewed
It was our
video
most
for a
viewed
while.
video for like a year, and I'm like, "Where's that hawk taw girl?"
Yeah,
Right,
really.
right.
So on that one, we have a buddy, Logan Everett. Shout out.
Logan.
He has Instagram, YouTube, all that. He's coming up. He did a remix video of the Hawk Tua girl. Hit like 2.5 million views like overnight. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna remix that one, see what happens. I got like 2,200, which
But
is still good for our channel. But
honestly,
like,
so, and I talk about this all the time. We're such a niche.
oh
niche. How do you say it?
Niche.
Audience. Like,
Nietzsche.
we're never going to get millions
Niche.
of views.
Nah. And when it happens,
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah, you're gonna end up like Dan Kidd chugging shit for
Yeah.
no reason.
Right.
Again, this is
Yeah,
this
which
is my
they-
retirement plan doing this podcast, so we
Yeah.
need to have something happen.
I'm
here.
trying, brother. Look, I got Harris on board. Like
Well, we talk with Dan Kidd. I don't know if you guys follow him or not. Heavy Bourbon.
heavy bourbon.
No.
So
Look
he
him up.
literally got popular and a crazy amount of views because he would chug bottles of whiskey, any
Good
bottle,
shit,
whatever,
like
it
good
was.
shit, like
good
I
shit.
think I have
Allocated.
And
heard.
he's like, I really wish that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Now he's got to do it.
Now he's got to
Like,
do it.
Now he's gonna
'cause
be
he's got
dead in, like, 2
sponsors.
years.
Chug, monkey,
Yeah.
chug.
Exactly.
I just
Dance,
want to tell you
bitch.
what it tastes
Well,
like.
have you seen the guy? He goes to different restaurants and bars, and he orders the most expensive drink or cocktail
No.
that they have, or the most expensive bottle they have,
and makes
he-
a cocktail
he
out of it.
Well, yeah, yes, he does.
So he's
Yeah.
like,
So
"What's
it's
the
like
most
a
expensive pour you
$4,000
have?"
pour,
They're
and he
like,
has
"Oh,
them
it's
make
Louis
a
the
cocktail.
16th."
Yeah.
He's like, "Make it in a Manhattan,"
Yeah.
and then he drinks it. Hey, he's like, "Oh, it's pretty good."
It's pretty good.
$250.
No, like
Yeah.
thousands.
Oh,
Like some
Well-
of them are like $1,000.
That's like the guy. There's a bar down in Louisville. It was on the what was that show? It was Jackie was in it. There was a lot of people in it. It was
neat.
neat. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Netflix.
And the bartender, he's like, you know what? I never can get Pappy. He's like, if I ever get Pappy 23, I'm gonna make Jello shots out of it. And he did, and he sells the hell out of
Well,
them.
I'll tell you what. That's about
Fuck yeah.
what Pappy 23 is good for.
You're
I have
right,
to
you're
say,
right.
But
Okay.
Pappy 15 is
That's
good.
I
That's
liked the 20.
23
I
is
thought the
not as
20 was
good.
good. I liked it. Thank you to sponsor Deadwood Live. Derek with Deadwood Live is producing top quality live edge products as well as bourbon themed furniture. If you've been in the lounge, you've seen the custom live edge table and barrel stools produced by Derek. Be sure to give him a like and follow on Facebook at Deadwood Live. That's DED Wood Live.
So I've got another bottle before we get into the dog shit you guys brought in here.
we don't have to drink the dog
we don't have
shit.
to
No,
drink-
we're gonna drink
Although
dog
I think
shit.
we should. I think we should.
Oh,
I
we have
really
to.
do think.
But that's finishing
But I'm
out.
very interested to see what this is.
So
Ted,
this
you
is
were gonna
this is
disown
Wood
us.
Hat out of Missouri.
Okay.
Gary is a freaking. He's amazing. He's a wood guy. He's also a farmer, and he uses a lot of the grains, kind of like Alan and the guys at Whiskey Acres do. This is the Bloody Butcher Red.
Okay.
This is actually probably the first Bloody Butcher we all tried that we loved. So I'm curious to see what you guys think of this.
Let's do it.
And honestly, out of Missouri, when we talked about this on the holiday episode, the law they passed to be able to call it a Missouri bourbon
I can pass it that way. Oh.
is pretty cool. Everything's got to be made.
I was about to have you pour, and then I'm like, oh, no, wait, I still have bourbon
He's
in there.
blending.
I know. I still have some.
Did I
of the,
mention I think I'm still
Pursuit
drunk?
left.
Yeah.
These things happen.
What am I supposed to do with this, Charlie?
Chug.
All right.
Whiskey chugs.
This is definitely not. So we have
Post
there's a
cheers.
really cool story, and I know a lot of people have already heard this, but you guys haven't. So we were out there at Wood Hat doing a couple of barrel picks. They literally sold out in minutes when we posted them. I mean, we posted them on the way back. They were sold out before we even got to St. Louis. Hour
It's
drive.
only- yeah, if that.
And Gary brought out this cooler of Bloody Butcher corn, and he said, "Smell this." And we smelled it, and he's like, "I'm like, damn, that smells moldy." He said, "It is. It's moldy." He's like, "A lot of distilleries don't actually dry the grain properly on the Bloody Butcher, and they make the whiskey out of it." And we all said, "Jeff the Creedy." He's like, I wasn't going to say the name, but you're right.
You said it.
And that's what it is once you get that.
Because it's not a harmful mold.
No, but once you get
but
that funk into the bourbon, you can't get it out. He actually this is actually made with Bloody Butcher the right way without having that funk to it. And it's actually really delicious. So
Why is it purple?
The color on this
It's
isn't it wild?
ridiculous.
Isn't it wild?
reminds me
It's
of
fuzzy.
what did we drink recently that was purple like this?
You keep asking me what we drank, and I've drank.
Dude,
some
you have the
I'm with
memory,
him.
bro.
I
You
can't
have the
remember
memory.
what I drank last
no
night.
idea.
We got to remember what Rob drinks for him so we can
Oh, gosh.
let him know what
I'm
he
like,
drinks.
I've never tried that. They're like, yeah, you did. You had it last week. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
colors.
we
That's
drank that
me,
last
that's me.
night.
Yeah,
Rob works so hard he even drinks on his day off.
I do.
Yeah, we're not really sure Rob's
dedicated.
employed.
Yeah.
I usually take my days off and I smoke and drink. It's really, really
I'm gonna have
weird.
to convince my wife that this is work too.
I'm excited about this because I haven't visited this one since we got the pick in.
I haven't for a long time.
Oh man, it's been almost a year.
Now, again, this is going to be that grain forward thing, which I like.
Hell yeah.
So I'm struggling to nose this because Charlie's smoke is blowing right now.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
is the smoke in
come
the
on.
cigar bar getting to you?
What in the
Oh
hell?
my gosh.
Where are we at? A
Charlie,
cigar
how you
lounge?
put up with this guy for this long, man? 2 years?
So pretentious.
Because he owns all the equipment.
So you were talking about shorts, man. Before we get into the nose and all this stuff on this, when I do shorts, I just cut them out of the episode. But
Glenn does
we
that
have
too.
a lot of that. Like
Yeah.
I guess it's a little harder when you guys do shorter content. There's less to pick from, right? Like so you have to kind of
yeah.
come up with different stuff.
And
But
the funny thing is, when we first started, it was very easy because we had a lot of like bloopers and B-roll and shit. And I feel like we've gotten
Efficient.
down pat,
Yeah.
and like we have less and less of that. Although it's really fun to cut shit up of Charlie like smacking his lips.
Yeah.
And shit.
There's one episode of me. So
I have like a minute straight of Charlie just smacking his lip, which I feel like he's become very self-conscious.
I'm
of
super
that, and
self-conscious about it.
He stopped doing
Because you
it.
called him out on it.
yes, because he shamed me. So before we start filming, like I don't want to go in like dry, right? Like so I'll take a sip of something just to kind of warm my palate up, to pretend that I'm professional. So I took a rip off of a
Maker's
bottle
Mark.
of Maker's Mark, and Glenn was recording it. And then the whole end of our episode is just little 4 seconds of me just chugging
I
out of
cut
this
it up
Maker.
to
He
make
cut
it-
it up like 6 times
Cut
at
it
the
up
end
to
of an
make it
episode,
look like he took like 8 rips off this Maker's Mark.
Nice.
which I may have.
so here's the other video. We're gonna play this one too. This will be another short, but you can hear it at least.
That's very grain forward.
Oh, didn't see you there.
This is high value entertainment for our.
You'll see it. I'll
Neck
cut it
of
out.
the
And I'll put it
guy.
on. It's Steve Strabbing with his back to the camera going, and then turning around going, "Oh hey, I didn't see you there. How's it going?"
Sounds like a
That's-
Folgers commercial.
That's 100%
Yeah.
Steve
That's
Strabbing.
That's just Steve's persona. is
Well, I
like-
wish one day we could put out a video of all the shit that we have to cut out because we would be
That's the
thrown
best
off
part.
of
We don't
YouTube.
cut it out.
No.
Well, we would be
leave
we
it
put
in.
it in there.
Most of
off
it we
YouTube.
leave in, yeah.
And
Oh, we got it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
various
folks.
shit.
Push
That's,
it.
you
Push
just
it
got to
up.
push it in. There
Boom.
it is.
Push it in
There
real
you go.
good.
Push
Push
it.
it.
Push it
Push
real
it real
good.
good.
Yeah, push it. Push it.
There's a lot of anti-government talk and
Can I
things.
drink this now?
Drink
Yes.
it.
Yeah, drink it.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
This is awesome.
Isn't that good?
That's
That's
really
what Bloody Butcher I feel like should be. Yeah, you're getting the grain, but you get the true essence of what the Bloody Butcher should be, not moldy.
And I know you're not a wheat fan. We were not able to bring home samples from West Forks, but imagine this Bloody Butcher as a wheated product. It was a little sweeter,
I will
way more
say-
funkier than this, but it was phenomenal.
That day, we got there, and the first thing they did, they brought a full glass of it out. They just pulled out, and they were just sampling it. I'm like, we kind of want to try that. So they pour us some, and we try it. It was the best thing of the day.
So
And I'm shocked at that because, again, Bloody Butcher is very off-putting to some people, but it was actually and I'm not a weeder guy.
right.
So it's like, this is like two things I'm not sure about.
I think the
I
wheat
loved it.
would balance that out a
It
little
did.
bit. So
It did.
Do you know the mash bill on this? What?
Who has the bottle?
It's very,
It's right here.
it's very
Oh,
corny, but it's not an
In the-
off-putting like young.
in the
corny.
best way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you taste it, and it even carries through on the finish.
Yeah.
Like you still get that nice mellow corn all the way through. I really like that. That's
That's
awesome.
an interesting.
It's
that's an interesting
tolerable,
whiskey.
but I say tolerable not because it's bad, but it's that tolerable.
It's
like
the right
funky.
amount. Yeah, it's the right
so-
amount of corn funk
And
that you
it's-
want.
it's
Like you're
we
drinking some
always
corn
talk
liquor.
about. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's-
It
Unique,
doesn't have the
different.
mash
It makes you
bill.
think.
I don't want to drink
is
the
one-
same
And that's why
we
fucking
do
thing
this.
all the
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
Right.
We're trying to
think.
break a mental sweat too.
Yes.
So this is 127.4
No shit.
proof.
You're
Shut
kidding
the
me.
front door.
I know. 127.4
You lit
proof.
liquor.
And it's aged a minimum of how many years you think?
I would say
25.
this is
No,
seven,
not 25.
7 years.
7,
I was going to say like 5.
2.
Oh,
Fudging
They use
Oop.
small barrels and they put them.
Oh.
They put them in
concentrated.
They're
in the,
23, right? Are these 20
they're
or 15?
Yeah, like 23 or no more than 30, but 23 I
Yeah.
think is what they have, and they put them in shipping containers in the back. And of course, in Central Missouri,
Yeah. So
It
small
does
barrel,
get
super
hot.
hot.
Yep.
and so it really does a really good thing.
Hell yeah.
It does not have the mash bill on there.
What's that?
I
What's
will
that
say-
bottle run?
What were these, Mike? Do you remember?
$60 or something?
I think they were around
Yeah,
65.
65, I think,
Yeah.
is what we
So,
paid for
yeah.
them.
I'll say this. On the finish, some of that youth comes in, I think, because it's a little bit of heartburn there.
Yep.
But on the palate and all
It's got
that,
good flavor.
Yeah,
Yeah. They have an orange corn.
But is he doing small barrels?
Everything small.
Everything's
barrels.
small, like
Yeah.
15 gallon.
I will.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. He does have some orange corn in some bigger barrels, but they're all in the same shipping containers
Yeah,
for that heat.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But I'll say on that Pursuit, there's a little bit of heartburn that comes through on that too.
Maybe it's just you.
I don't know if you all picked up on that.
Maybe
or not,
maybe it's
but
just you.
maybe it is just
Could
me.
be just-
maybe I'm just.
I
a
just
pussy.
call it the
I mean-
Kentucky hug.
Big,
That's it.
big size.
Kentucky hug.
Kentucky hug.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a difference between a Kentucky hug and heartburn.
Yeah.
I'd buy
Or
that.
I'm not
pain.
getting. I'm not getting heartburn out of this one.
Yeah, I don't get that.
But I don't have an issue with heartburn, so
Right.
that's part of it too.
I don't know.
But-
My temples still hurt from last night, so
Damn,
Yeah.
Everything's hurt.
But no,
right
Wood
now.
Hat was a cool place because Gary
Scott's
had
hips
it.
hurt.
My
he
liver is
started-
going, please stop. Stop.
It's your liver quivering.
liver quiver.
Yeah.
Quiver
Yeah.
lip.
If
Gary-
you notice when I'm picking my glass up, I'm trying not to have the liquor
shakes.
shakes.
The shakes.
So Gary actually started his whole world in the wood. He worked with a cooperage, which is what, a half a mile from where he is.
oh yeah, it's
something
right
like
down
that.
the road. Yeah, it's right there.
So he started in that. So he knew wood really well. And then they also are farmers, and actually they have you pull up to their tasting room, which is literally a little bitty building with the small still in the back, and they got all the farming equipment out there. They're still farming right where they are.
Right.
The only thing they had to actually farm out was the Bloody Butcher, and the first one came out and it was wet and it was moldy, and that's why they rejected the entire crop. And he is very knowledgeable on the wood side and the grain side. So again, he's another one of those guys. I think he's doing a great job with what he's doing. I would love to see some of this stuff in a bigger barrel, aged longer, to
Yeah,
see what happens.
absolutely.
But honestly, you didn't have to.
I'll
He's like literally. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm a wood guy. I'm a farmer. I'm going to make some whiskey and I'm going to sell
Well,
it.
you know what?
He was
He'll-
shocked people in Indiana wanted to try his
He'll
stuff.
get more age stuff.
He will.
as it comes along.
He will.
But
never would have guessed proof. Never would have guessed age.
No.
That's an absolutely drinkable, enjoyable, interesting bottle of bourbon for
And once
a
again-
decent price point because it's different from anything else you're gonna snag off the shelf.
Once
Yeah.
again, the Missouri bourbon law, it's got to be, everything's got to be made in Missouri, grain to glass, even the oak. Like the
Yeah.
oak has to come from Missouri.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this follows that or not. Is
It
it, called a
does.
Missouri?
If it says Missouri bourbon,
Yeah.
That's fucking
That's
cool,
awesome.
man.
It is cool.
I like that.
Yeah. In Missouri, I mean, I don't know a lot of the distilleries in Missouri, but I do know that they're producing some really good stuff out
Well,
there
other
right
than
now.
Holiday.
Right. Holiday.
Holiday is
Yeah.
killing it. I mean,
Right.
that's what Fred Minnick and Jack both said is this is the distillery that's going to make marks in this
Which
year.
Holiday had a lot of money behind them because to be able to wait to put out you're bottled in bond.
It's 6 years.
It's 6 years.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
had some money behind you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where
Yeah.
you didn't have to source whiskey. Like
Or do
they
a
had
white.
a lot of money behind.
I want to meet the person that like has an ulcer like for 2 years. Like, can we please release this? We need to make revenue. And they're like,
Which-
no, we're waiting 2 years.
But
Like,
honestly,
please, God.
If you had multi-millions of dollars and you were going to throw it at a distillery, wouldn't you say, listen, don't put out shit,
Yeah.
you know? Let's wait.
Well,
6
that's
years.
what Mark
there's-
over
like-
Moondrops
Yeah.
is doing. He
Yeah.
said,
That's where I was gonna go.
I'm waiting, and he said until the
Fuck the
budget
bank.
is completely stretched to the absolute limit, if it's a race, right? It's a race to see can his budget last enough time to get it to where he wants.
Yeah,
and
we
he
have-
thinks he can get it
That's
there.
one of our next episodes. We have a Moondrop barrel strength single barrel Meyer pick that I bought the other day.
Okay.
that
It's
we're
MGP.
gonna do.
It's MGP.
Yeah, it's MGP.
And by the way, it says it on the bottle.
Yes.
yes,
He is not
a lot. Yes.
Yeah, he's like,
Full
I'm just
very
gonna,
transparent.
it's completely open.
And it's
yeah.
a high rye mash bill because it's the exact same mash bill as the double oaked
Yeah.
that we did at Old Louisville.
Which my buddy David, he was at Moondrops the day that you all were there doing.
Oh,
your-
nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Doing the live.
And
Hell
he's
yeah.
the one. He sent me a picture. He's like, "Oh, you got to try this, man." And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna buy this on your recommendation. And he
So-
texted me this morning. He's like, "What are you doing today?" And I told him what we were doing. He's like, "Oh, those guys were having Moondrops the day I was there."
Well, Moondrops is like a mile
Oh,
and a
it's
half
like-
down the
yeah.
road.
That's what I told
Yeah.
Glenn.
I
I was like,
totally
you drove
missed
right
it. I
past
didn't
it.
see
And
it.
he's like, oh, I missed it.
Say
Yeah.
if you guys have time, you might stop by there. I don't know if Mark's there on Saturdays or not.
I'm
don't
gonna
know if
stop
he is
in
or
and
not.
snag something. We
But-
gotta have content.
This
If
the
they have-
7-year
If
double
they have their
oak.
double oak in there, buy
Yeah.
a bottle.
It's
It's
7-year
delicious.
MGP double oak. It's
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
really good.
That's what I had at Old
Yeah.
Louisville.
Yeah,
I would say probably the best thing we tasted out of their place was
the rum.
A rum. It was
Really?
a rum,
Rum
a
cask
cask
finish.
strength rum in a barrel that they're
Okay.
not even releasing
Just
for
hit
another
2
4 years.
Yeah, he said he's going. I thought he said he was going 7.
Oh, 7.
So
okay.
5 more years.
Six
That
or
was
7
what he
years, yeah.
wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What he
wants
wants
to do.
to do.
seven.
Everybody's like, you could ship that right now.
I mean,
I'll
honestly,
buy it now.
I would
I'm
bottle
waiting.
it now, and it's actually a rum that bourbon lovers would love.
Nice.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Very
Stop.
good.
Speaking of other spirits, if you have Ken Schreiner on from AJ Schreiner, he's making a gin, which they haven't proofed it down yet. It's 130 proof. It's a rye-based gin.
That's a wild gin.
Dude, I don't drink gin. Charlie, what'd you
I'm
think
not a
about
big
that?
gin.
Oh, Charlie's off mic now. I'm not a big gin guy, but it was super, super interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I told the story on the podcast. I was like, my dad and my stepmother drank gin and tonics when I was a kid, and it was probably like the cheapest fucking gin. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, not anymore.
I don't even know
Right.
gin
Yeah,
enough
not
to know what
anymore.
the cheapest gin is, but
Hotel Tango.
in the in the
No, that's
tonic
the worst
water,
Yeah.
and I hate tonic water. so
Yeah.
I would sneak and taste it, and I was like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
whatever."
it wasn't the
but-
gin. It was just the tonic water you
Yeah,
hated.
It's
probably
literally
so.
it's literally like the vodka room.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I want something low sugar content.
Right.
I just want to have a drink. Yeah.
I kind of like gin though.
I
Like
mean,
there's
like he said-
there's
I like
certain-
gin, but the
Yeah.
gin is unique in that it's what you make it to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? It's not like what the barrel does or
No,
or
it's
Oh,
all
no,
the
yeah.
botanicals.
all
Yeah.
what
It's
you
all the
put into it.
botanicals.
Yep.
Yes.
We went to a dinner where Yellowstone
nice. Okay. Yeah.
came, and it was like a dinner and a tasting, and they brought some of their gin, which is what's their parent company?
I haven't tried theirs yet. I don't know their parent. I don't know a lot about
I
Yellowstone.
can't remember. So anyway, but it's a Beam. I can't remember his first name. It's a Beam. And he brought some of their gin, and it was really good. I was like, I hadn't tried gin since I was a little kid, tasting my dad's shit, and that was a good shit. So Ken brought this gin, and it was interesting. It was really interesting. It had that funk, that almost that dusty bourbon rye funk.
It's
to
that
it.
cardamom, man.
Which the cardamom.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And Ken said, like, this is not like gin drinkers don't like this. Rye
Yeah.
drinkers love
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
yeah, it's for the rye market
Yeah.
for
See,
sure.
on the gins, I like more citrusy gins, and some of them come out a little bit more on that citrus,
And even
citrus
Charlie was
side.
like, I like the juniper. And
See, I
I
don't
do
like
like the
juniper.
juniper, yeah.
I know you do. I'm not a juniper
I'm the
fan.
same way.
But I will tell you, down at Backbone, what's the name of the distillery they're in?
Oh,
Um,
fuck. I don't know
God
theirs.
dang it.
Oh, you mean
It's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't we remember that?
You go, Charlie. You hit the easy button.
So this distillery, Backbone, they actually have all their storage in the back of a distillery. It's 6th Street.
I'm trying to look it up. 6th
Street,
It's something
Is
like that.
5th Street, something like that. But it's he'll find it. They actually were running the botanicals, but they also added anise as the botanical. So you got that
Anise?
kind of anise.
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 Okay,
Anise.
sorry.
Anise.
I
But
misunderstood.
it's got that. Is it anise?
There's a hint of pink eye
I
in
always said
there.
anise.
Yeah,
You heard what you
Anise.
wanted to hear.
pronounced both ways.
All right, whatever. But it had that kind of absinthe kind of note to it, which made it really unique and nice. And I really enjoyed theirs. God, what's the name of that? Seventh. God dang
Is
it.
it 7th Street?
7th Street.
7th Street? Is that it?
I think it's 7th Street.
I
I hate this because I like those guys.
Yeah,
They're
it's
great.
7th Street.
No, it's 8th day.
8th Day. Thank you.
Oh, fuck.
Thank you.
That's
8th Day. That's it. 8th
Fucking
Day.
Scott.
I will tell you, some
Damn
of their
it,
stuff
Scott,
is
with your
young
Google.
still.
You know how I was able to find it is I knew where it was on the map, and Mike doesn't understand maps at all.
I'm
Yeah,
also
that's true.
He
illiterate,
is
so
geographically
Well,
challenged all
Speaking
the
of
time.
absinthe,
Oh,
Peerless has an absinthe barrel finish.
Oh, I
We've
know.
had it.
Have you
I've
ever
got-
tried
yeah.
that? What'd
I've
you
got-
think about it?
it's freaking great.
And it's also crazy absinthe. Like
It is.
It
It's-
just
I was
rolls
like,
over everything.
Oh, I tasted a sample of it. He had sample bottles out, and he's like, and no one else liked it. And I'm like, "We can do with that bottle." He's like, "I don't have anything to do with it." I'm like, Can you give it? Yeah. Here you go. And I drank. I love it.
Glenn always gives me a hard time because I like things with alcohol in it.
Right.
And I'm like, that's good. I
Yeah.
like this 130 proof
well,
gin.
Charlie likes scotch.
I like scotch.
I like
some
scotch, too.
scotch.
Yeah.
not all scotch. I don't like peaty weirdness.
Oh,
But
I like
love
Scott.
peaty
I love
weirdness.
peaty weirdness.
Yeah.
man.
Although we did, what did we do?
Iodine and Band-Aids.
What did we do? We did the high ride Johnny Walker the other day, and that was actually pretty good
that's not peaty.
for like a
Huh.
no.
But it was
not
very
peaty.
good. It had alcohol in it.
Johnny Walker's peaty.
Is it?
It's
You
a
can-
light.
you
It's a
can
lighter
get
peat.
some,
it's just not
depending
heavy.
on which one you get.
Yeah, it's just not a heavy peat.
It's not
Well,
heavy.
like-
It's not
Every
like
now and then I'm in
Lafroy.
the store and I'm like, oh, that's something stupid. I'm gonna blind Charlie on it, see if he can, see what he says about it.
No, I drank it and I was like, this is scotch. I was like,
He
in your
did.
face.
He picked it up.
If you want to hear about the Johnny Walker stuff, listen to the episode that we did with Enrique from 1502 Cigars. He had a really good story about Johnny Walker and like how
did.
they came into all their stuff. I can't recite it.
No, I don't remember either.
But listen
I've
to that
drank since
episode.
then.
I have drank since then. But he had a really good like backstory on Johnny Walker because that was like his brand that like he loved and like he knew everything Johnny Walker. So
Yeah,
look
yeah.
up the 1502 episode if you want to hear about Johnny Walker.
Well, if
Yep.
you ever go on a all-inclusive trip to the Caribbean and you're a bourbon lover, that's what you're gonna have to settle for.
Yep,
Some
that's
pretty
yeah,
much it.
Johnny
Yeah.
Walker Blue
Yeah.
Label or some
Yeah.
shit like
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
were
all
you
about the
unhappy
rum.
on your
Oh,
all-inclusive
it's terrible.
I like
Caribbean?
that. I like this.
You have to drink
Jeez.
$200 a bottle of scotch.
Oh,
yeah,
so
but it's
awful.
all about the rum down there.
Yeah,
for
You know,
sure.
No,
yeah.
no
Yeah.
doubt.
The
And
rum's down
I
there.
picked up some rum in the Dominican Republic that was aged in bourbon barrels. It was pretty legit.
Yeah.
Florida Con,
Some
does
good
some of
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
So we do need to talk a little sports here briefly. It's
Let's
not
talk
really
some
a big.
sports.
It's not a big sports time, and so it's not actually sports per
yeah,
se.
Bronny to the
But,
Lakers. Okay, that's over.
Well,
Move
yeah,
on.
screw that.
He's never
Don't
gonna
really
play for
care.
them. He's never gonna
Don't
play
care
for
about
them.
LeBron. Don't
Yeah,
care
G
about
League.
Yeah,
Thanks.
but
Okay, next.
congratulations to the Florida Panthers.
Heck
Okay,
yeah.
Congratulations to Florida
congrats.
Panthers.
Hell yeah.
And,
Cats.
and speaking of that, we were very fortunate. So we got to hang out with players from the Indy Fuel
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
to
Super
watch
Bowl.
Game
Yeah.
7.
That's
Oh,
Colin Bielik
yep.
right there on the screen.
Yeah, there you
That's-
go. on
yeah,
the
right there,
screen.
yeah.
That's- So we got this is
What is that?
so
Is that-
it would have
is
been
that
last
hockey?
week's
Is that
podcast that
soccer?
drops
Yeah,
tomorrow.
ECHL hockey.
Hockey, man.
or,
Come on.
or
Yeah.
Monday. But yeah, then the guys came out here and we hung out Thursday.
Thursday,
Yeah, Thursday because that was my daughter's actual 21st
That's right,
birthday.
that's right,
and,
yeah.
And we didn't, go crazy, but we did end up sticking around here till like almost 12:30.
12:30.
it was
yeah,
late.
yeah.
And,
Yeah, it
and
was
those
late.
guys, just a huge shout out to,
So
to
great.
those guys, to Colin for coming on the show.
We were already big fans of the Indy Fuel. After this, I'm like, gosh, I'm a big fan of these guys too. you
Yeah.
know?
They're just
Yeah.
people.
So great.
They
You
were
know what?
great.
Hockey's one of those sports where I can't watch it on TV.
Oh.
But like Louisville used to have an ECHL team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go River
And I
The
Frogs.
Frogs.
River
Yes.
Frogs.
And I
I've
went
got
to
a
a game
jersey.
and it was the most awesome
Oh,
thing
yeah, they're
ever.
great. They're
And
great.
we caught a puck. Like, it was cool as shit.
Yeah.
Minor league hockey, and I will die on this hill. Minor league hockey is the most fun you can have at a
It
sporting
is.
event. period. Like, it is so much fun. I love Indy Fuel games, Cincinnati Cyclones. Like,
So Indy
sign me
Fuel
up.
is
Oh,
gonna-
come
building
on.
a-
The Cyclones. Fuck those
Oh,
guys.
yeah, don't do that.
Now we're
Those
getting
guys in the four-way
boom.
comics
minor league
suck.
hockey rivalries.
Yeah.
Hey, I love a fuel game.
No,
and
you have to come up because the
They got the
Indy
new-
Fuel have
new
the new
rink.
stadium.
I'm so excited.
Fishers.
It's-
I'm
yeah.
so excited. When is
Why
that
do they
open?
call it a rink?
When
That'll
does
be
it,
this next season.
This
upcoming
season?
Yeah.
So they're actually not going to do a home game until December
I love
because
it.
they wanted to allow the extra time. So the first month is completely away.
We
But
will,
what I've heard, they're about 2 weeks ahead of schedule.
Yeah, that's what
So-
they've been running.
But now we
So they
got
shouldn't have
rain,
an
so it might
issue.
drop them a little
we
bit.
will be up here because
These
my
are these
kids
are things
love
I
it.
think about. Like, why do they call it a rink? Like, what does that mean?
Way to ruin the entire episode.
wow.
Have you ever thought of that? Like, what is a rink?
No. Like, why do they call it a court?
What do they call it?
good
A
question.
Zamboni? Like, what the fuck does that
Why do they
mean?
call a soccer field
Now,
a
the
pit?
Zamboni thing, I know, it's
Zamboni, I
because
would
that
say
was the
the
name of the
guy who
guy.
invented it
Well,
was
yeah.
named Zamboni.
Yeah,
Yes,
soccer
that was-
field's a
yeah.
pitch.
A pitch.
And a court
Yeah.
is, like
What?
an open field, like a
Yeah.
court.
God damn.
I want
What the fuck is a rink?
I want to court
Are, you,
a
are, we
woman.
going to start talking like linguistics on here? I mean, what the
You
fuck?
see- hold on. I
This,
want
went-
you
this
guys
shit just went
See
sideways.
what I have to deal
You know,
with.
this isn't the kind of
just saying.
content that our viewers
Why do they
want.
call it
okay?
bourbon? Charlie?
Etymology. I like etymology.
call it
Like,
bourbon?
Where does
Why do they
rink
call it
come
bourbon?
from? Is
Goodness.
it like,
Well,
was it a
jeez.
ring and then someone had a speech problem and they called it a ring?
Well, in
Or-
1865, they were
John
skating
Rink
around.
founded
yeah.
hockey.
At the close of the Civil War,
Well, it wasn't John. It was his daughter.
Oh, it was his daughter,
Isabel
Samantha
Rink.
Rink.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Like,
just
you would think
kinda-
they would call it a pond or something because like they started on frozen
I mean,
ponds,
they do
right?
call it the ice.
All right.
It
They
is
do
the
call
Go
it
on
ice.
the
Yeah.
ice. Yeah.
Make
Like
sure you
on
guys
the
tune
ice.
in for the after show where I kick the crap out of Glenn in the parking lot.
He just kicks me in the nuts repeatedly.
No,
Why do you say stupid shit?
No, all you have to do is one time, and we'll just keep repeating it over and over and
Yeah,
over and
that's
over
it,
and
yeah.
over.
hey, but we may get some views on that though.
I feel like we
Yeah.
should
That's true.
crack open that Starlight cigar.
You guys
Alright,
go ahead and start.
Hammer
I'm going
on.
to finish this.
we
and I'll
got to
get
finish
into
with
it.
the Starlight.
I'll do-
We'll
He's about
finish
to
with
walk out the
cigar
back
batch,
door.
and then we got to
He's
get
like,
Yeah, I
out.
got
I
about
gotta go
5
home.
minutes before I got to.
Are we opening this?
Go ahead and start that
Go
one.
ahead and
Yeah,
start it around,
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
If you want to, we don't have to
God
open
damn
it.
it.
I will
Oh, he's
say,
drinking it.
I will say
I'll
that
drink it.
what surprised me with hanging out with the fuel guys, some of them are exactly the size you expect them to be, right? I mean, they're out there and they're pretty big dudes. Colin's stout.
Oh, dude.
John Martin was pretty stout, but the captain, Seamus Malone, is tiny.
He's a small dude.
He is a small
yeah,
guy,
He's a really small
and
guy.
he goes out there and he bangs with the best of them and,
He
and
does.
He'll
makes
run
it
it.
happen on the ice.
Yeah.
But man, when I met him for the first time, I'm like, shit, man, you're a small
He's-
dude.
he's an
Captain.
Irish guy,
Yeah.
right? Seamus.
But
Seamus
Malone.
Seamus Malone.
Yep.
Best name in the game.
He's got a little
Yeah.
fight in him.
Yeah,
Best name
You
yeah.
must have got the one that's a little loose. Sorry.
And I did love hearing about, like, you came right out of the gate when we had Colin on last week's podcast talking about, hey, that fight where you slammed that dude's head, you hit him a bunch and you got him down on the ice, and then you took
Slam
his
him.
head and you slammed it into the ice. It's like, he's like, yeah.
What was going through
my
your
mom
mind when
gave
you
me
were
a bunch
doing
of
that?
shit about that one.
I loved his story on that too, because what he said was, he's like, I've never been a fighter. I'm not a fighter. He's like, I got here the first game, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking fight
fighting.
tonight.
Somebody's getting.
I'm gonna fight
Yeah.
tonight. And he went out and he just plowed this guy. It was great.
Kind of like going to prison. You just
Oh.
gotta
Oh, yeah.
just jump
Yeah,
right
first
in.
Find the
here.
biggest dude.
What?
Buck
Yeah.
him
This
up.
is who I am.
We went to the last Indy Fuel game we went to was Star Wars night, and where they have all the
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Wars and everything, and I guess they told everybody, hey, it's Star Wars night. There's kids in the stands. No fights tonight. And there wasn't one flipping fight, and I was furious. Like, I love Star Wars, and
Yeah, but
my kids had a great
the
time.
kids want to see the
They
fight.
want to see the
The
fights.
kids want to see the fight.
So I talked about it in last week's podcast that they have the kids day. So the game's at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning, because they have 6,000 kids come on field trip to watch hockey.
That's awesome.
right?
Yeah, but
I mean,
you got to
great.
tell how you prepare for your kids' day.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I talked about it last week, right?
Start
I
drinking today.
I start drinking 7 a.m. We go to breakfast. Like I like Rise here in
Mimosas
town, and we get mimosas and Bloody Marys and all that, and
I'm watching him.
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
this. Just, he's
but
like,
yeah, it's
I don't want to drink a
they
cinnamon
fought
roll.
the last 2 years during the kids' day.
And the kids went crazy.
Oh, they're going nuts.
You don't want riled up kids. You don't
Oh.
want 6,000 riled up
And they
kids.
said that's what don't like about it, it's so loud because those kids.
Oh, they scream.
Oh,
Just
they
a high pitch
scream.
For literally no reason at all.
I have 2 daughters, so my house is just always a high pitched screaming all the time.
I had 3, so I
Yeah.
get you,
I had
buddy.
4.
You win.
You had 4.
Man, this is.
Cinnamon roll.
I was gonna say it's total
that's all
cinnamon
it is,
roll.
Cinnamon
yeah.
roll. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
So this is their.
I can get down with cinnamon roll.
I will say
I like
they
cinnamon
dialed-
roll.
I feel like Starlight has really dialed this in the past couple years.
just
So let me
funky as
say, I
hell.
should have brought this and I forgot. They have a Amberana rum barrel finished,
Ooh.
which
Funny thing
really
is-
dials it in.
The funny
really
thing is,
dials
it's
it
the
in.
same barrels. No one knows it, but it's the same barrels.
But they call this their cigar batch.
They
Is that
changed it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
still call it their
that's the
cigar
thing.
batch?
It's like Joseph Magnus did a good job calling theirs a cigar batch. Armagnac, cognac, sherry, those actually pair with cigars.
I would
My
not
biggest
want this
issue
with
with
a cigar.
this is not the taste. Because again, it's not my flavor profile. It does not go with cigars.
It doesn't.
ruins a cigar.
It kind of, yeah.
It's like somebody who never smoked a cigar said, "Let's make
Yeah.
this a cigar batch."
And I don't know why you're big into entomology. I don't know why they call it the cigar batch. I don't know if it's just because it's Amberana and that's what
I
everybody
think
does.
They feel
but
like it has notes of a cigar, like
Tobacco.
It's
cigar.
got
They ever
notes
smoked
of-
yeah,
a
but this
cigar?
has got
Ugh.
notes of like an infused flavored cigar,
But
not
I will say this has
actual
it does
tobacco.
have some.
this is
of
the
those-
fat bottom Betty of whiskey.
This is the tannic bullshit that should never go into a freaking glass.
This
Sorry,
is
Christian. Sorry,
Deadwood
Ted.
whiskey.
We love you.
So
No, I love everything about Hubers. This is the one I hate about
Well,
them.
they know. They know.
Here's
We
what I
talked
will
to Ted,
say.
didn't we? That
Yeah.
one day about it.
Here's what I will say about this one. The nose is crazy because this is a first fill. The nose is crazy cinnamon roll. I don't get as much of the sweet
Yeah.
cinnamon roll on the palate.
The palate's
I would
tamed
agree.
down a little bit.
The
Yeah.
palate is
I
a
get
little.
that tannic thing. It's like,
It is oaky.
I don't know if I
that's
don't know.
all I
kinda-
get.
Tannic ass.
tannic
See,
ass.
I get a lot of like grape.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, like
So
like
that's a
go
note
down
I
with
pick
grape.
up on sometimes, but I don't get grape on this.
well, again, I said I wasn't going to do tasting notes today because my palate's probably dog
Scott's
shit.
still tasting fruit roll-ups from last night.
He's drinking the
That
You know
Spice
what
in
though?
the grape
You know what
bucket.
though? Now that you've said it, in which the power of suggestion, right?
Yep.
I do get that. I can see where you would get
I will
that.
say it's to me it leans Concord grape, right? I mean, I grew up eating Concord grapes. My uncle had
Welch's.
a grapevine.
So
and-
go with
and so
me here.
it's-
So go
on
with
the
me
front,
here.
like on the
It's
front.
a grape.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a grape that was shoved up a monkey's ass.
Right, right.
And
No,
like squeezed out.
It's grapes that bats ate and then shit, and then we collected the grapes out of the bat shit.
Made coffee.
Like
Guano
the monkey-
grape.
Made
Right.
coffee.
Make
Guano
coffee.
grape.
Threw cinnamon
Right.
on it and
Yeah.
then put a barrel on it. It was great.
I like that. It's
What do you
guano
think?
grape.
What do you think, Charlie? What do you think?
He loves it.
I don't.
Charlie is a
No.
honk for
I am not-
cigar bath.
No,
First
and
of
that's
all,
the thing.
I
is-
am not a honk for
Yes, you
anything.
are.
I
You're a
like what I
honk for-
like. I think this is
And
fine.
it's okay.
I
You don't
pass me
have
that
to be
bottle.
Trust me.
ashamed of
I
it.
need to finish on a good
The
note.
pursuit. Trust me, I've been
I need
eyeing
to
it the
finish
whole
on a
time.
good
I
note.
know.
Look,
That's
if the
freaking
cigar
good.
batch from Starlight was $4.99,
Oh, here, I got it right here.
I would buy it every day.
Like $4.99.
$4.99.
If
Oh my God.
Starlight gave me $100 a bottle,
sorry,
I
Starlight.
still wouldn't take it. just
Like
telling you right
you
now.
want them to pay you to drink it.
Yeah, but I would not take it.
And this
even.
is what's great about bourbon.
Yes,
is that
yeah.
it should
and honestly,
be
it is. Like
It
isn't
is.
divisive. It
But
should
isn't
be.
it cool though that this Amberana wood can make a whiskey taste like no other whiskey you've ever tasted before? Like, what
Just wood.
is it
Yes.
about that wood?
I
So
will
can
go
moldy
one step
corn,
further.
but I don't want to drink that either.
It makes it into something that you should never want to buy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And for
No,
those
and that's
that,
the thing.
those that like it, good.
They
Good for
love-
you.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
cool.
Definitely go
And I
out,
would say
buy it,
I'm in the
support.
minority. I feel like there's a lot of people that do love this. And there's a reason why people used to stand in line to get this. Now, not so much now because they've flooded the market with it. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
hell, this stuff was even at Meyer here recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, a lot.
So, once you have a couple bottles, it's like, do you need more?
Correct.
Probably not, because this is not an everyday pour.
Yeah, and 100%, and that's a victim of kind of their own success. And kudos to them that you can find it, and that it's out there. But
It's
yeah,
hard to outgrow yourself.
Well, it's
And like
definitely hit
I've
the
always
price
said-
where like
Yeah.
it matches the market,
Yeah.
right? Because it came out and everybody went nuts over it, and then they kind of tasted it and were like, and the price went from what was over $100. Now you're finding
Like
it for
120.
60,
Yeah.
$70 at Meijer.
I've always said I have a love-hate relationship. Sometimes I
Yeah.
love it. Sometimes I fucking hate it.
Yeah,
Well, and I think
yeah.
with Starlight, what they did was they did such a great job of creating new profiles
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
different barrels.
Absolutely.
So they've around here at least they probably have more different finishes
Yeah.
than anybody in probably
Right.
the Midwest.
Yeah, and they hit
And
when
their
it needed to
Mizunara-
be hit.
Mizunara
Oh, that
is
one was
great. The
great.
Yeah.
Tokai barrel was great.
Tokai,
All
yep.
those are really good. But what happens is you release so much stuff, and that's like everyone's looking for the next thing.
Yeah, it
And
wasn't
they've already
spaced
done
out enough.
Ambaranas. They're all. And I think everyone's going, okay, what's next? What's next? We're done with that one. Let's go next.
Well, I
And
think
it's hard to
they've kind
get
of cut
further.
back on the
They've-
Amberana too.
they've
Like this
That
They
one-
happens
did.
in every industry too.
Like
because
this
It
one-
does.
the
this one
cigar
is a
Sumatra
first, though.
last year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Everybody.
Sumatra
Yeah,
cigars for
everybody.
everybody. So
Yeah.
this isn't new. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same story, but
Yeah.
And there's a reason why every single brand around has come up with a Ambarana finish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
true.
because people like it.
People are buying it.
It's just not
we'll
me.
put it out and we'll try to get some of that market and some of that
And
money.
like you said,
Absolutely.
the RD1 Amberana, I feel like is a very neutral.
Super
is.
mild
Yeah,
on
it's-
Ambarana.
it's mild.
Yeah.
It is
yeah.
very
It's been the
mild.
one Amberana that
Yeah.
most of us tried, and we were like,
Yeah.
okay, that's
Yeah.
that's
See, even he's over here getting ready to
I know.
Glenn's
Dump
gonna
that
take
shit.
this
Go so
home.
good.
I know. I'm ready. To,
Oh no! Don't
I'm
let
ready
him
to
take it
have a little
home.
bit of
Finish
that.
it. Finish that bottle. Come
Like,
on.
Do you see me watching it? Like, oh, how much?
He's
more
like,
are they
God
gonna-"
damn it! I want
Like,
to take
where's
some
the
of-
lid? Where's the top?
Oh no! Oh no! We have to go back to Pursuits and
Oh,
find
shit.
another one. Oh no! We'll have to make content over there. Oh god! What will we do?
Give me that.
All right, well, let's close this out. We're gonna get out of here. We got to go set up some DJ shit. So
yep karaoke.
karaoke stuff
Karaoke.
for Scott's grandmother.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
gonna be singing songs from the 40s.
Grandmother.
Heck yeah, I love that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I only
that's
know
great.
a couple songs. From
So
the 40s.
so guys, where can they follow? Where can people find you?
All right, so SoIn2Bourbon, and I'm going to spell this out because
Good.
people get confused about this. I was told by Bruzel that our name is like it confuses people. So SOIN the number 2 bourbon on YouTube.
SoIn2Bourbon.
SoIn2Bourbon.
And
So
Instagram
And
and
Instagram.
Facebook and
All
follow
that.
Glenn.
all
on
the places.
TikTok,
Whiskey Realtor on
Realtor.
TikTok.
How about you, Mike?
Nice.
Man, you can find me at both their visuals, Spencer Lee's. Don't forget to follow the Final Third podcast for Instagram, and then Final Third Cigar on Facebook and also Instagram.
Follow me, Scotty D Smokes.
Mike already got me. So
I
we're
got
all
you,
good.
brother. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
got you, man.
Thank
Well,
you so much.
Thanks,
for
guys.
having us.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
really glad to have
This
you
was a
on.
lot
This
of fun,
was great.
guys.
Yep,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Yeah.
guys.
And we'll
Cheers,
see you guys
everybody.
next week. Cheers.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers.